Hi Capricorn, so welcome to your reading. This is what your Akashic Records want to tell you guys about or during at any point in 2021. So just be mindful, when I talk about anything to do with astrology wise in the beginning, this is going to be, if you are ascendant, rising sign Capricorn, this is most likely to be predictive, what things will get stimulated in your outer world. If you are moon sign, this is more than likely how you're going to be feeling, where your heart's going to be pulling you. And if you're sun sign, this is more than likely where you're going to find inspiration and vitality. So just keep that in mind. The other thing to consider with these readings is I've made them so that you can come back anytime during 2021 and potentially you'll get a different number like resonating with you. So just be mindful of that as well, because you are dynamic, you are changeable, and there's for sure a lot of dynamic energy in 2021. And then the other thing to be aware of with these readings is I've programmed them in the Akashic Records so that they're a wild card basically. So if you trust yourself, if you have something going off in 2021, come to my channel and ask yourself which of these Akashic Records holds the answer I most need to hear right now, and go to whichever star sign your intuition tells you, even if it is Aries and you have nothing significant in your astrology charts to do with Aries. So they're totally been designed to work like that. And then finally, bearing in mind that you can also use these relevant not just to your natal chart, but your solar return chart and your progress chart, and because they are both they change slightly each year. So you might find you have more significance in a certain area of or in a certain part of the zodiac that you don't usually in your natal chart, because maybe it's flagging up heavily or something significant's happening in your solar return or progress chart. But cool. So the first thing I just want to do is I just want to go straight into a little bit of astrology for what's going off in 2021 for this Capricorn archetype, Capricorn energy. So I really feel like one of the first things to say is, oh my goodness, money, resources, value, self-value, how you truly really create with your own unique resources to manifest you even greater resources, which will be stable and have a long-term legacy. There is so much energy about that for you guys in 2021. And I know that 2020, actually from 2018, it's been a lot of stuff going off for Capricorn energy, because it's the nodes of the moon have been in this sign of your chart. So there kind of been lots of purging, lots of letting go of stuff, lots of restructuring of stuff. I want to say like squeeze points. I'm seeing kind of like a tube, and I'm seeing like the tube gets really narrowed at one point, and it's really hard to get the water through that narrow part of the tube. And I feel like in some level, on a metaphor level, there's been a lot of that's been going off for you over the past few years. However, I do really feel like I just feel a lot of things are going to get shaken up for you in 2021. And I do feel like for a lot of you, it will be super positive, but it will definitely depend on how much you can be flexible and adapt to changes is going to be key. And really, the other thing that's really important is we've got this really important energy of Jupiter and Saturn. They're conjunct at the end of 2020, but it really plays out for a long period of time. We're talking like 20-year cycles. So it's a big significant thing. And it happens in your second house, which is, like I say, this whole resources area. I always think it's how you create and enjoy your own wealth. Really specifically, create and enjoy your own wealth through the generation of things from your own resources. This is like a real second house thing. And I think that this is something that you guys will really get stimulated and triggered to look into a lot over 2021, and it will involve some deep psychological changes about how you see and use your own money and your own personal resources. That will be massive. And I do really feel there'll definitely be, I think for you guys, a lot of changes around how you earn money. But I'm going to come into that in a minute. Well, actually, to be honest, so much has got a bearing of money for you guys, I have to say, in 2021. But anyway, the significant points that I want you to be mindful of is February the 17th, June the 14th, and December the 24th. Why? Because this is when there's a really intense, almost exact angle with this energy about money and your own resources. and shaking things up, but very much about how you maybe can become more of a creative manifester, or how you bring more creativity and like dynamic energy into how it is you are making money. This is really important. Now, things, you might have gains or losses on those dates that I've talked about, but either which way, it's more just helping you understand where to best focus your energy to get the most out. And that's really important. So any unexpected losses that occur, it's not really a loss, to be honest with you. It's more like trying to refocus you in a slightly different angle. It's not even path, because I feel like a lot of you will be on the right path. It's more like just changing your angle of focus. So that might happen there. Equally, at those points, you might find you get more of a windfall in some way. And again, I feel like the windfall is coming in to once again just slightly change your angle of focus. So whether it is loss or gains, it's not really positive or negative. You just more want to see it as a changing of an angle of how to go. So what I would also advise you, coming into February, June and December, definitely really pay attention to what your intuition is telling you, as well as your logical thinking, processing. And it's really important to combine both of those two things together. And I do actually feel like there will be quite a big thing about how you communicate on a daily basis between your logical and intuitive mind. This is going to be really important because you have Neptune in your, let me just check out which house it is. I think it's the 6th. You have Neptune in the 3rd house. That's it. So I feel like sometimes you'll be confused about what you are mentally thinking. But also sometimes I feel like you'll get a sudden real intuitive insight about something too. So you're going to dance between confusion and intuitive insight. But if you apply your logical mind to the confusion and the intuitive insight, I do really feel like I'm seeing it's going to be like a rudder on a boat, and it's actually going to help you steer and navigate when sometimes I'm seeing this boat on a misty lake and it's really, really difficult to see where to go. But the person that's got the rudder, the rudder of the boat that steers the boat, I feel like, sorry, I don't know if it's called the rudder, but you know what I mean, the bit that steers the boat. As I'm seeing it on a sailing dinghy, I'm seeing like they're using their intuition and their experience of their craft, of what it is that they know best, of what it is, how they best can, navigate their future. In terms of, some people are amazing at hearing things, smelling things, sensing things, just knowing things, whatever is your sense. That's the way that's really going to guide you when you get confused. But you also use it with the experience that you've had through your logical thinking mind as well. And it's bringing these two things together. And then I'm very quickly seeing that once this person goes with that flow with this boat, they soon sort of like come out of the mist patch, and then it's bright sunshine again. So I don't feel like any of this is going to be painful or destructive. It's just going to require you to just hold your nerve a little bit at points, and can you really tap into that deeper sense of how you feel things and trust it. But like I say, I do feel like your logical mind is mainly going to be backing that up, and if it doesn't back up, it's just a moment to potentially just use these additional intuitive senses that you have to just guide you through that misty patch, because it's only a patch. It's not like an event, is what I'm hearing. And soon, once you've gone through that misty patch, you'll get to the sunshine. I feel like this is quite metaphorical for moments of and it will happen in waves, I'm hearing, during 2021. And again, it's just designed to really help you bridge that right part, the right hemisphere of your brain, more intuitive and creative, with the left hemisphere part of your brain, more logical and analytical. And it's like bringing them both together. And I'm seeing your corpus callosum, the thing that kind of the information from both hemispheres of the brain goes to, getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I just can see that I'm hearing now 2025 then becomes really relevant to all of that, and it's really, really positive. And I'm seeing it's like a eureka moment of a culmination of things. So anyway, yeah, that's what I'm getting as well within that. Then the other thing I do want to say is I do feel like there's going to be a lot of things coming up for you guys to do with how you are going to have pleasure, how you're going to enjoy your life, how you're going to be entertained, how you're going to be creative. If you've got children, how you'll engage with your children. If you're wanting to create children, like literally how you're going to go about creating them. It's all going to be maverick is what I'm hearing. You need to everything to do with what I've talked about there, and your creative projects, your fun relationships, fun sex, whether you're in a relationship or not, however it works, children, whether you have them, you don't have them, or you're wanting to have them, or creative projects. All of these, I feel like it's going to be, I'm hearing like a wild ride. But again, this is where you just have to tap into your intuition. And I am really hearing it's about being a maverick, doing something very almost unconventional. You need to bring in a bit of unconventional energy to that 5th house that I've just talked about there. It's not about doing anything risky though. I'm really not hearing it's about doing anything risky, which I do know that you Capricorns will appreciate that. It's not about doing something risky, but it is about being very innovative, and it's definitely about thinking outside of the box. It's really about thinking outside of the box. And I'm also hearing that there's also going to be this pressure in that area of your life to basically conform or not conform. You know, I do really feel like there'll be like quite a big push or pull to do with that, more than other years that you've had. And I do really feel it's again, it's about stamping your own authority on what you want to be your own convention, essentially. And it's not about being swayed by any other person or system or institute's way of trying to influence you to conform in some way. But again, I don't feel like it's about you being a rebel. It's more about you creating how you want to conform, if you know what I mean. It's you making up your own rules about how you want to go about being creative, being dynamic, being almost expressive. It's that kind of energy. And again, I'm really hearing it's about you sort of developing some form of your own authority to do with that as well, which I do really feel will be incredibly powerful. I also do want to say there could be, I do really feel there's going to be, I know I sort of touched on it, but there will be this thing about, I feel like it's really going to be about doing tradition. You'll be going into doing tradition in a new way by now, because you've had Uranus in your 4th house of home, family roots and all of that kind of thing for a long time, sort of like almost like breaking things up, shaking things up. And now I think it's about taking everything that you've learned over the past 8 years to do with who you are, where you come from, your family heritage, your home life, and what you find emotionally fulfilling. And it's about now not rebelling against any of that, accepting it all, and now kind of focusing your rebellious type of energy or a desire to do something differently into all your creative projects. But it's not to try and do things out of a space of rebellion, it's to do things out of a place of innovation. That's really, really important for this 5th house. Do things from a place of innovation, try things new. I just can hear that is really, really important. And for some of you as well, it could even, because the way it's linking up with things, it could be about you're even doing some sort of creative project in some way that in some way, even if it's so loosely, relates to children in some way, and then this also helps you create more revenue. Or if it's not to do with children, it might be to do with a creative type of project, like some kind of arts thing, so like acting, painting, dancing. Entrepreneurship in general, I really think can be a 5th house energy as well. So anything entrepreneurial, I do really feel like there's a massive push for you to go in that direction. And I'm hearing you'll be really, really successful as long as you keep being flexible and adaptable. So I actually think that is really, really exciting. Now let me just check on your chart again to see if there's anything else I wanted to say. One thing I do want to say is really try, and some things might come up because of where Chiron is in the 4th house, right at the very bottom of your chart, the nadir. You have worked so much on all those issues of mother, childhood, your own deep psychology, your roots, your heritage, your lineage, your home. What is home to you? What is emotional fulfillment? Sometimes life might do a few little instants in 2021 which will make you feel like, oh God, why am I back into that situational thought process to do with those themes that I've just talked about? what you need to do is just communicate differently to do with however it is you've done those things in the past. That's it. Don't spend energy on it, don't spend time on it. Just when it comes up, just communicate differently, and that's it. Don't give it any more time than that. That's all you really need to do, even though some situations might encourage you to get dragged back into that old pattern. The way to, I'm seeing that the key, because Chiron's often seen as a key, for some reason I'm just seeing, and this is intuitively now, I'm just seeing that the key is to just communicate differently. That's really, really important. And again, you do this by navigating with your intuition and your logical mind, and that's how you'll move through that. But don't allow yourself to get pulled into it too much. I really feel like for a lot of you, anything to do with home that's difficult, or your past childhood, or your parents, or your, I don't know, anything to do with that, your heritage, your lineage, the way to break the chains of the past is just to communicate differently and do it without too much energy going into it. That is the key. So yeah, that's just the one little thing I want to put there. By the way, I don't see that happening loads. It's just like a little booby trap warning. Just wanted to tell you about that. Cool. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to, I've done this for all the other piles. We're just going to pull a, whoop. No, we're not doing that, one sec. We're just going to shuffle to see what is the overall energy of something that the Akashic Records wants to tell all of you before you split off into your individual piles. So let's see. What is the energy for Capricorn in 2021? But also, guys, I do really feel like a lot has come up for you in the last 3 years of really working on your foundations, but also real about emotional security as well and stuff like that. And I do know that even though things will come up that will challenge physical security, and that's not just for you, that's just going to be for a lot of us in 2021, just know the way through it is by knowing that you've created such a strong anchor to do with your emotional stability and how you can handle and work with life because of the last 3 years. That just came out of nowhere. Interesting. Now another one of these piles had this. So 3 of Swords. Now just give me a minute just while I intuitively feel into it. You know what? This is mental. I'm pretty much sure this was Cancer as well that had this, and I'm hearing the exact same message that I got for that. And I suppose it does make sense because you guys have both had the North and the South Node in your signs over the past 3 years. Anyway. So no, but this is the message that I'm really, really getting, that 3 of Swords can sometimes seem as a heartache or a painful energy. I'm really not getting that at all. What I'm getting is this. It's really about you bowing down to what your heart, mind and soul are telling you. Because here I'm seeing like 1 sword heart, 1 sword mind, 1 sword soul. And this person's body is kind of like bent over. And I just feel like it's almost like a surrendering and a yielding to the collaboration of all of those 3 parts of you. And I really, really feel it's absolutely about navigating any difficulty with skill and mastery. And I do feel like you'll do a lot of that by communicating differently and investing your energy in a different way to do with those areas of life. And that's really going to be, again, this thing that kind of breaks the chains of the past that I'm hearing. Just give me 1 second. It's so weird. I'm getting the image of a bridge as well for some reason. Just give me 1 minute because I've not had anything given to me like that before. Just give me 1 minute. Okay, I'm really hearing that there is this thing about making a bridge between, okay, feel intuitively into what this is because it'll be different for all of you. Your Akashic Records are open right now, so whenever you read into this reading, you'll tap into that energy and it's available to you. So just totally trust it, because I'm here and my guides are here holding space in this moment, and it's non-dimensional time. But anyway, where is it in your life in 2021, whenever you get to this reading, where is it life is encouraging you to build a bridge? And where is it asking you to build a bridge from and to? Which areas of your life? Is it between people, person, situations, desires, goals, past hurts? What is it? Because I'm actually really seeing there's this real thing about making a bridge. And it's interesting because we talked about Chiron being a key for you, and the key really is something around communicating very differently, particularly communicating very differently to do with past situations and your childhood, and even how you speak to your own self, if you know what I mean, internally. And it's interesting because Chiron's also known as the rainbow bridge. It builds a bridge between the outer planets of, like, I don't know what they call them now, like Saturn, or sorry, like Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, with more like the inner planets. So it's more like, I don't know, all the other ones, Mars, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn. And I kind of really feel like there is this thing about building a bridge. And actually, for some of you, you need to intuitively feel into it. It's not necessarily about you needing to build a bridge because something's been destroyed. I feel like for a lot of you as well, it's about building a bridge to a new area or in a new way in part of your life. It's kind of very forward thinking. It's kind of like building a bridge so that you can access more in your life, more in a kind of, it's not been experienced in this way before. I suppose what I'm trying to say to you, this doesn't feel like mending, even though for some of you it could involve that, but it feels more progressive. It feels more futuristic, this energy, like it's tapping into something new. The bridge is going to allow you to access new ways of being and seeing and feeling and exploring the world, if that kind of makes sense. And you need to just intuitively feel into that, because obviously it will be different for all of you. Now we have 3 piles for you to choose from. So just intuitively feel into which is the pile for you. So we have, this is pile number 1. This is the stone from my shamanic meze. And then this is crystal number 1. Okay, and then this is pile number 2. And then this is crystal number 2. And then this is message number 3. And then this is crystal number 3. Okay, so you just intuitively feel into which one is right for you, and then we're just going to go straight over to pile number 1. Hi guys, so this is for everybody that chose message number 1 for what your Akashic Records want to tell you, Capricorn, in 2021. So what we'll do is we'll channel into the crystal in the extended reading. So I'm just going to put that to the side there. I do love that. I got that yesterday actually. And then first of all, we're going to go straight into channeling with this. Okay, I have to say, even before I turned on, my guides were like, this pile, it's really important to do with Pluto in the first house type of energy. So for all of you that are Capricorn rising, you've probably got Pluto going through your first house. It will take a long time. It takes years and years and years. But regardless of that, what I'm really hearing is there is this big thing in 2021 about, these are the words that I'm hearing, about jazzing up your own personal identity. Like jazzing it up, like sparkling it up, kind of like polishing it up, and kind of really sort of letting yourself shine and be seen in that kind of way. It's almost like, I'm getting the words of like glamorizing yourself as well, like really sort of beautifying yourself in whatever way that might be. And again, this is like showing me things to do with a 5th house energy, which is very creative and all the rest of it, but I'm seeing it more as like being the center stage. And there's something about like it's time for you to just really be in the limelight in some kind of way. But I think I'm hearing that it really starts from you kind of allowing yourself to kind of shine more on your own internal way, like how you see yourself. But then this is the other also really cool thing. It's also about how you see the world. So I'm seeing this real big thing about like a lot of gratitude for where things are, a lot of gratitude for what's happened in the past. But also a lot of wonder and a lot of curiosity. I'm seeing lots of kind of very innocent, young, vibrant energy is the kind of energy for you to start tapping into. So no matter how old you are or not, it really is about really feeling that kind of youthful energy inside of yourself. And I'm actually hearing like the words exploit that youthful energy within you and do this in a creative way, and do this in a curious way. I'm hearing all of these things are really, really important for this pile. I'm also really hearing like, do take a few risks to do with how you present yourself to the world, and do take a few risks with how you could change your perception of how you see yourself in the world. So I'm seeing like an image of somebody that's got some like glasses on, and they're like taking those glasses off and putting on a completely radical different pair of glasses. So not only do they now look very different to the world because they're wearing very different glasses, but also the way this person is looking out through those glasses looks radically different. Because let's say these glasses have got like a rainbow coloured tint through them or something, whereas the glasses that they had on before were just like clear. There's really something about that, and I really do mean it in quite a metaphorical way, as well, how things will kind of play out for you. So take risks to do with how you present yourself to the world, and take risks at kind of maybe allowing yourself to see people in a more playful, curious way. So I'm not saying that it's about you seeing people in a really positive light. I'm not actually getting that at all. I'm getting it's more like being open and curious to allowing yourself to see many different facets of the people around you, not putting any judgment on there, but understanding which ones of those facets within those people to collaborate with, and then which facets within those people you just have to be mindful of. So it's about being incredibly inclusive going forward. Like it's so important to be inclusive, because for some reason, guys, energetically, I can just tell you this, I can see your energy field is when you are more inclusive during 2021 and not thinking that certain people shouldn't be around you. Maybe you've had to be really careful with your boundaries, or you've been really aware of your boundaries over the last 3 years because of all the things that have happened with Capricorn being with the South Node. So a lot of letting go of stuff, but also a lot of things come up which can be quite unstabilizing. So you've kind of got your boundaries up a little bit, is what I can see on an energetic level. And you've been really careful about sometimes not letting certain people into your life at certain times, or thinking, you know what, no, I need to be careful of that sort of person. I'm not sure that's good for me. Now what I'm seeing in 2021 is quite radically different. It's kind of like the universe is like, okay, cool. Now you've got a better understanding of your boundaries, of different qualities within different people around you that can nurture you or that can make you feel worse, let's say. Now it's about, now that you understand that, now work out how you can be completely inclusive with that person or those groups of people, because you're now secure and stable enough within your own self, because you understand your boundaries, you know what's you know what's somebody else. And because you have this kind of understanding and this mastery now, it's now safe for you to be inclusive to all the people around you. However, it's still about being smart. Now you understand, like, when somebody will be, let's say, supportive of you and when somebody won't be supportive of you. And it's about accepting that and working with that, so that actually you can still be completely inclusive to this person or these people or whatever it might be. And the reason is this, because on an energetic level in 2021, the more inclusive you are of different people, the more somehow it's going to like trigger your consciousness to be more creative, more inventive, and more maverick. Because there's something about some of these people in your life or situations that usually you would choose not to, say, collaborate with, that when you don't take anything to do with them personally, you then start to understand and see things in a new light because of the information and the perception that they have, which is very different to you. And usually it could be triggering or it could be difficult. In 2021, it's actually going to cause you to have some incredible breakthroughs, but not through the pain and the struggle and the suffering of those kind of breakthroughs you get. This isn't shadow work. It's absolutely not shadow work. What this is it's more like learning to paint with completely different paintbrushes, or with a completely different, like I'm seeing you're maybe working with pastels for the past 3 years metaphorically, and how you were collaborating with people. But now it's about sort of creating with pastels and oil colours and watercolours, and these are all different types of people, and it's bringing it all together. Because as long as you know when to, I don't know, maybe it's understanding with, you know, with, I'm going metaphorically again, with oil colours, you might want to use, I don't know, you might want to use pastels first on the piece of paper, and then you would add the oil colours, instead of putting the oil colours on first and then the pastels. I know this might sound quite cryptic, but it's just this concept of understanding the sequence of how you can be collaborating with every single body around you. But it is about understanding the sequence, because some sequences are very beneficial and some sequences are not, and it's not actually to do with you or the people, it's more to do with understanding how to work with yourself and these people, so that actually it becomes highly beneficial and it creates something completely different, incredibly inventive. It's going to spark off your inner genius, and it will also, in some level or other, it's going to bring you way more wealth. And I do see this as money, because I'm seeing like gold coins falling. But it really is this kind of, it's this openness, it's this inclusiveness. And I do really want to say, if some of you are maybe getting images of, let's say, I don't know, family members, or, you know, people where you've had quite intense relationships in the past, and you might think there's no way that can happen. I'm telling you, like, this is where the gold dust lies in 2021. But also what will happen is, what will actually happen is, that's not where the wealth is going to come from. But by you being very different in those situations, it somehow almost creates a wormhole to another area of your life, and that's where you start to reap the rewards. So don't worry if it appears like maybe you don't really feel like these situations are overly changing, like we've talked about, you know, like bringing people in that you would usually keep protected away from you to some extent. Don't worry, because that's not actually where I'm hearing that you're going to be reaping the rewards. It's going to be in another area of your life. And be super mindful of this kind of wormhole energy that's going to be available for you Capricorns in particular in 2021. My guides are now actually saying as well, this will happen for a lot of people in 2021. This kind of like wormhole concept of one area of the life having a very significant impact on another area of life, even though they absolutely seem completely unrelated. But actually they are on a deeper level. And it's all because something about in 2021, it's how our energy fields our energy fields are going to be interacting way more potently than any other time I'm hearing on planet Earth. As in, well, I don't know about Lemuria and stuff like that. I'm not hearing like that. But on, like, you know, in our life, put it that way, in our lifetimes, our energy fields are just going to start to becoming so much more sensitive and more of a main driver. So be open to that kind of concept coming through. But I keep hearing inclusiveness is key to your creative genius, and your creative genius is what's going to increase your wealth epically. And I'm also hearing it is quite interrelated. When you start changing how you see yourself with those different coloured glasses and start changing how you see the world, this is when it's also going to become a lot easier to be inclusive to people or groups that you usually wouldn't be inclusive to. Cool. I mean, I just feel like that just came out like bam. So yeah, that was no effort at all. It just sort of like, I don't know, streamed out basically. So I feel as well that means there's going to be quite a lot of movement in this kind of way in your life in 2021. Right, let's see. So what else? Oh, okay. Okay, so my guides are just showing me different, I just sort of get shown different ways of laying out the cards, because it all helps bring the energy in of what your Akashic Records are wanting to channel. Okay, I've not had a shape like this before. Okay. Right, let's see what we have. So we have 7 of matches. This has come out quite often for quite a lot of the in quite a lot of the Akashic Records as one of the main ones, and it's always coming out with the same message, which is this is about lighting your own bonfires this year You know, it's really about committing to what it is that you really do want and burning old bridges from the past, but we'll go into that in detail. Then we have 2 of matches, that's 2 of wands. Again, this is this super creative entrepreneurial energy. And I did really say that in the beginning. I really feel like this sort of entrepreneurial type of energy is really, really important. Then we have the Fool. Okay, we have that reversed. But I'm hearing that we don't read it reversed, but we don't read it upright, so I will feel into that in a minute. Oh wow, and then we have the Queen of Blades. So that's the Queen of Swords. I always again think this is a very, I always think octopuses are, I don't know, very, very powerful energies, and it always feels a really great positive thing for manifesting. And again, that's right under this entrepreneurial energy we talked about. And then at the very bottom, we have King of Vases. And I'm really seeing that as a crow on there as well. And that's just telling me, your records are telling me that it really is, you are going to be stepping into, how would I say it? Crows can often be keepers, the gatekeepers to different realms of life, of consciousness, of reality, that kind of thing. And I'm just really feeling, and I'm getting a bit of tingles on this as well, so I know it's true, that with the King of Vases here, this is really about you. I just really feel like ultimately by the end of 2021 for this pile, you really will be creating money and expressing yourself authentically in a very, very new way. But it's not just like, oh, this is new and this is different. It's more like, no, this is something that you've been working as a soul up to for quite a long period of time. And for some of you, I'm seeing like decades. And for some of you, like, I don't know, since 2012, like, but it's got heightened a lot over the past 3 years. And now it's like this crow is going to come in. And again, I keep seeing images of keys. Like when we were talking about the astrology earlier, this crow is going to be coming in and giving you a key to finally, truly start accessing a very new lifestyle, livelihood, you know, that kind of energy. And I do feel as well, this is something that you guys have been working on for a long, long time as a soul. So it almost feels like, and it's interesting, I'm actually seeing, and I've not had this before in the Akashic Records, but I'm actually seeing, not in a reading anyway, oh god, let me just think what their names are, because I can see all of them, but I just can't get the words. 1 minute. It's the oh damn, it's like the these nine different really important souls in a council, and you go to them with all sorts of things like releasing karma, like doing new karmic patterns, lords of karma, there we go, that's it. My guys are like, oh my god, how did it take you so long? But yeah, I'm like seeing the lords of karma coming up, because I'm literally really seeing like them clapping as well. So I don't know what you guys have done in the past, but you know what, it's seriously recognized on those deeper spiritual realms, and I'm really hearing that kind of recognition, that kind of appreciation and applause, and I'm particularly hearing the word applause, is going to really start coming into your life in 2021. Yeah, because this is just, I don't know, I'm so getting the feeling that it's so different for all of you, but I do get quite a family sort of like ancestry type of vibe coming through. Like you've really been working on something either to do with your ancestors, or even if you're not aware you've been working on something to do with your ancestors. It's kind of like whatever it is that you have been focusing on and really trying to create for a very, very long time, it's something that ultimately is going to release a lot of heavy burdens within the ancestral lineage that you come from, and therefore there's so much backing and there's so much support from all of your other ancestors and even the spirit realm in general. Because when you make this shift into this new reality, when you get this key, and I'm hearing that it really will be something that comes in 2021 where on reflection you'll be like, oh right, that was the key to the new gateway, to the new reality in my life. I really do think you'll know it when it happens, or you'll recognize it, or even when I say this now, you'll know what it is if it has already happened. yeah, I really feel like that energy, it doesn't just help you and what you want. It doesn't just help your ancestors and what your ancestors want. It actually helps collective consciousness and how collective consciousness as a humanity wants to move forward. So it's really, really powerful. And again, this really taps into a real archetype, which I feel like Capricorn vibe, and to be fair, Cancer, but Capricorn vibe can really have, which is like really taking responsibility for generations. It's taking responsibility for generations, and I do really feel like that's something that you guys have been doing or will be doing if you haven't done it, but I feel like a lot of you have been doing it, and I'm definitely hearing that you might think it's gone unnoted in some kind of way, but it absolutely has not. And when the moment is right, that gatekeeper is coming with a key, metaphorically, and this really is going to be bringing someone something new, but that's been worked towards for a very long time into your life. And again, this could be anything from money to job to life purpose to a relationship to children. It's going to be different for all of you, so you just need to totally feel into your soul and feel what is relevant for you. But that's completely what I'm just seeing there. Again, your messages are just coming out instantly, so let me just have a little feel into this more deeply now. Again, I'm just hearing entrepreneurial, like it is really important for you to be really sort of creating some kind of legacy, which is a very authentic expression of who you are and what you really want. And I do feel like it feels very collaborative, like it's going to be more than just you doing something solo. It really doesn't feel like you doing something solo. Or if it is you doing something solo, I just can feel like lots of your ancestors behind you again. But again, I do feel like whatever this is, whatever is the creative direction that you want to go in, whatever it is, let's say if you're happy at work and you're happy in your relationship, okay, what is it that you're wanting to manifest? What are you wanting to manifest? That's the kind of energy that I feel I could be talking about if it doesn't resonate with entrepreneurial. And it's kind of, I do really feel, again, it's going to really help by you being inclusive, bringing lots of people in, having different ideas and perceptions from people or institutes or communities that you would usually maybe disregard. There's something about that that's really powerful. And I'm also hearing for some of you who are like, oh no, but I do consider all different perspectives and opportunities. I'm hearing that there's somewhere in your life, and it may even then be a very specific person, where actually you don't, and it's to really go into that space, because that person or that situation, I'm hearing, has got another key. I don't know why keys seem to be so relevant for you guys, but again, I suppose this key it really is going into a new doorway, and I do really feel like you've got these massively strong foundations as well, because it was so cube and square that I got shown to make a square, because you guys, it's all about stability, it's about foundations, it's about growing them. But then also there needed to be an additional foundation underneath, which was obviously this card. So as well with the King of Vases, the King of Cups, I do think it's really important to... In fact, actually, let me just get another card for this. Let's just see which deck shall we do. Let's have a look. Sorry as well, if you can hear that noise, that's just my refrigerator starting to make a noise. Anyway, so let's just see what else is going on here. Oh, by the way, what's just coming very quickly with this card, and I want to say it before I forget, is I know I said in the beginning it's not about you guys taking risks. I do feel though that there's some opportunities coming in 2021 that you need to grab reasonably quickly. It's not that it will not be a risk, by the way, because what I'm hearing is if a situation or an opportunity comes in, either relationship or money or whatever it might be, something for your children, whatever this opportunity is, I'm hearing that it will come in quite fast, and it might feel unstable, it might feel chaotic. I'm hearing that if it does feel like that, dismiss it. And if it is truly right for you and the universe wants it, this offer will come back again with something which takes out some of that risk. So suddenly it now becomes actually an appealing opportunity, and that risky energy is gone again. But I am also hearing that this thing could come in quite quick, and it could appear quite unstable. But like I say, you don't need to think that you must take that. It's almost like you can play with the universe a bit. It's a bit like... almost like raising the stakes. I think, okay, yeah, I'm interested, but not like that. Package it more stable, and then I'll consider it. And if it is something the universe or your soul really wants for you, it will then come back in with a counter offer, which in some ways takes away some of that risk. So I don't know what that might be, because it's going to be very different for all of you. But I'm completely hearing that. And as well, with this Queen of Swords here, I do feel there's something about risk assessment that is important in 2021. I'm hearing that there will be quite a lot of, like I say, sudden changes. This isn't just you, by the way, it is just all of us. But there's this important thing about doing a risk assessment, and I do feel like the risk assessment should come in. I'm hearing for this anyway, particularly with the octopus. The octopus has got all of these. It's got a very stable energy. It's 8 legs, so that's 2 lots of 4, and 4's like the Emperor, so it's very, very stable. So I'm hearing that the risk assessment should be, how stable is this? Is this stability or not? And like I say, if it's not stability, dismiss it, but still be open to it maybe returning with a more stable offer. Or if it truly is totally chaotic, then it just won't come back in again. But definitely risk assessment is really important. And also having the confidence to say no if it seems too unstable, and realising that it can come back in a more stable form if it's right for you. And if it doesn't, that is almost like a booby trap that you've avoided. Because again, with the Fool energy here reversed, again, I do feel like there's going to be, but we're told not to read them reversed. It was like an unusual energy, they said. So I'm just channeling what's being said. But with this Fool in this sort of direction, it is, I don't know, there is something about being open to things radically changing quickly, but recognising that you're only going to go for something if it also has roots of stability going on with it. Because with this card in reverse, my guys are kind of saying to me that the Fool usually runs and jumps, and it is about you having that sort of energy. But because it's reversed, it's like, I don't know, I'm hearing that it's kind of like reprogramming how you would go about taking risks, or how you would go about choosing options. And also I do know that for a lot of Capricorns anyway, you'll have this natural understanding of, you'll be quite good at your risk analysis, and you'll probably really want to have things that are stable. Although, however, over the past, I do feel like there'll be some area of your life where it might have been something in your family lineage, something to do with family, any part of a family member, any part of your childhood from the past that I feel like could have been very unstable. Even if you're, like, say 66 listening to this reading, I feel like there could have been a lot of instability in childhood or something like that. Or, if you are 45, there could have been a lot of unstable energy with your mum. Or if you are 21, it could just be that you are, there is a lot of stability of you kind of, there was a lot of instability during adolescence. I don't know, there's something that has been quite significant in your lives, whoever you are, while you were growing up and developing, or even in some of those relationships that were with us from birth, let's say. And I think it has in some ways brought unnecessary chaos into other areas of your life. And I do feel like this is something that you are going to, life is going to encourage you to be mindful of this pattern within you, so that actually you can become this kind of birthright energy of Capricorn, which is stable, which is consistent, which has gravitas, which has the ability to build things long term for more than just itself, but 7 generations before and after. There's that real kind of anchoring energy that I really, really feel sort of coming in. And I do also want to say this chaos as well could be around a masculine energy figure. I know I just mentioned female type of energies, but it could be either or, and I'm really hearing that it could be either or. But it's definitely, whatever this is where you've had chaos in the past, it's something that was important to you on a heart level, which is, I think, why my guides have shown it me as these more interpersonal relationships that also that basically change how our neurology grows as we get older and older, because we kind of come through those first roots, I'm hearing, of how we were nurtured in a certain way, and there's some sort of instability that happened there in some way, or a disconnect, I'm hearing, that has caused chaos, and that in some unconscious way causes chaos in other areas of your life. But that is something that's, like I say, completely and utterly coming into check. And it's almost like burning off that chaos from the past with the Seven of Matches. And it's about, I don't know, just kind of like doing things in a very different way to do with responsibility and commitment. And like I say, I'm hearing that a lot of you will be like, oh no, but I really am great at all of those things, which I can totally imagine you are, because it's very Capricorn energy. But like I say, there's something somewhere in your life that has caused you to also want to, maybe, if you are somebody that is very, very stable and responsible and all of those kind of things, it's been a reaction to something that's happened in the past, and it's that reaction that sort of just needs to get neutralized a little bit, because then the way that you will create stability, or how much stability you create, or resources or money or whatever it might be, emotional stability, even so relationships as well, it kind of again, it kind of starts rewiring your neurology and creating things very, very differently for you, in a way that means however much you do have more, you can like double it and treble it, basically, in whatever way that is relevant to you. Anyway, so that all came out before we even turn this over. I think we've pretty much got this right. Okay, so we have the moon. And I just want to put one more. See, we're not going to read it reversed apparently. And we have the Four of Voices. Oh, I love this Four of Voices. Okay, that's really interesting. It's the same message that I was getting actually with just the moon, which is when these opportunities or these sudden changes happen for you, or maybe somebody comes into you with an offer of something, whatever it might be, relationship, money, a project, etc., or an idea, or I don't know, it can be anything, right? It's definitely about, I feel like there'll be quite a lot of woof, it'll come quite quickly, quite suddenly, and I feel like it's about you just taking some time out just before you make that decision. I'm seeing that reflection and not doing anything reactive is really, really important. But I feel like life's going to bring it in a way that's going to make you feel like you need to snap it up now, else it might be gone. But at the same time, I think that kind of urgency is also going to make you feel a little bit of discomfort in your solar plexus. Like there'll be something about it that you're not totally sure about. Some of you might know why, some of you might not. But if you get that feeling, I'm just hearing it's important just to give yourself a little bit of time to reflect, because with the Four of Voices, which is Four of Swords, and the Moon card, definitely, I'm also hearing getting another perspective on what's going off is really, really important. And again, this is where I'm hearing this kind of thing about this inclusive energy is important, and that actually somebody or a certain group of people or an establishment or whatever that you wouldn't usually ever consult, you would never go to them for advice, guidance, or consult in any way. I'm actually hearing that could be exactly who or what it is that you need to consult, but in between deciding what to do about a sudden situation that comes in and almost appears like it's going to change your fate very, very quickly. And again, I'm sort of hearing, and this is where the King of Cups is coming into me as like a very, very mature energy. I'm sort of hearing it's about this mature communication that you will be developing and that you have been developing, that's really going to be helpful for you, because you're now confident enough to get opposing opinions about what you're doing and actually be able to see the value in it, and maybe even sometimes take on board some of it to slightly, again, alter the angle of your perception. And it's this thing again about altering the angle of your perception, which kind of came up as well when we were channeling into the stone. I do think there's something really quite important about that. Yeah, that's really, really interesting. I just want to get just two more for this, because A, I love the cards, and B, I just feel like there's just a little something else. It's something that's going to, I feel like something will shake your foundations a little bit. Particularly, I'm seeing like the masculine energy. Like I just felt my right ankle crack basically. So the right side of the body is to do with masculine energy. So it's again, Saturn, Capricorn energies, responsibility, accountability, these kind of things, but also again, money. And we've talked about money, resources, your life purpose. I really feel like something about that is going to, some pressure is going to be applied to it. And if you don't resist it, it will release. And that release will actually bring further movement in, is essentially what I'm hearing. But it's really important that you don't resist it. And I do get the feeling like it might be something that you would usually have resisted in the past, but kind of like that's why you've never quite got the release. And I'm also hearing that's why you've never quite got the key to the gatekeeper, because on some level there's been a little bit of resistance to do with something, and it's just not quite been able to, almost a bit like my ankle, you need to kind of push it to its tension point and then relax and almost like let it crack, let it release. And as it releases and it cracks, it then brings more movement into the joint. And I'm kind of hearing that again on a very kind of metaphorical level to do with whatever area of this life it is relevant to, basically. So ask yourself, where in the past have I had resistance? Which just means, and that wherever I had resistance, this same area will be a same area I've been working on for a really long period of time, like years and years and years. But this resistance has been building up, which has been building up the tension point, but I've not quite been able to relax into the tension, and therefore I haven't truly ever got a release of that tension, and therefore I haven't really truly got new movement forward consistently in whatever direction it is I want to go to. Wherever you can hear your soul tell you what area of that life is, or maybe you even get the event, that's something to really work with at this moment in time whenever you listen to this reading, because I'm also hearing that that release point is going to give even way more than just movement. It's actually going to, in the long term, bring a lot of pleasure, I'm hearing as well. Okay, so yeah, and we do read these reversed. Apparently they come out reversed, so let's have a look. So we have Page of Inspiration. Okay, this one to me always is about, again, really, it's like intuitive and it's instinctive. It's really being open to messages on that much more intuitive, instinctive level. And I do feel like if some of you sometimes feel like you think it's quite hard, sometimes Capricorn energy can think they don't quite, and I do feel like this is not a correct assessment of a Capricorn on itself, but I think some Capricorns don't necessarily feel like they're quite psychic, or they can quite hear their intuition, or they sort of don't maybe quite trust the messages that they get, or if they're trying to, you know, find out why they've got a pain in their body, they can't quite get why they have a pain in the body, even though they really, really try. I'm also really hearing that that's something that's going to be radically changing for a lot of you guys, not just in 2021, but like literally from now until the very end of your days, whenever that is. It's like you're going to be completely increasing this ability to be sensitive and fine-tuned to intuitive message and instinctive guidance. So, you know, and again, that pulls back to this thing about you having Neptune in your third house of communication. It's been there for a while, by the way, but you know, it's going to continue being that. And I just feel like it's gone past it's gone past the halfway point, and I feel like it's about mastery of that kind of energy now, and it's about you really, again, like almost taking more responsibility for those intuitive messages that you get, and almost like taking even more accountability for the fact that, no, you know what, I can hear my body, I do know what it wants, I do know what it needs, I know what these, I don't know, intuitive messages are saying to me, and I can apply that with my really great linear, logical thinking and pattern awareness with this Queen of Swords energy. But also, because it's in the reversed, I'm hearing it's more a case of there's a lot of intuitive energy, to be honest, coming up for you guys in this pile. I do really feel like you're going to have quite a big breakthrough to do with your own appreciation of your own psychic abilities and senses. I really do. And I think it's really interesting the Lords of Karma came through in your reading as well, because I've not had the Lords of Karma come through in any reading yet so far. And again, I just feel like not only was that a recognition of this new of all the hard work that you've done and of your karma changing. But it kind of feels as well like, I feel like psychic resources are going to be opening up for you even more if that is what you want. But this is not going to be ungrounded. It's going to almost be have protocols with it, is what I'm hearing in some way. But anyway, sorry, getting back to this point, with this here and about this whole intuitive energy kind of thing that I kind of see coming in, is it really is about you balancing your logical mind with your intuitive mind. And I do feel there's a little more of a surrendering on the logical side to make a bit more space for this intuitive side to come in. But in no way is this you disregarding your logical mind, because I'm hearing that your logical mind can also really help you. I keep hearing this thing about risk assessment. So I suppose actually I've never thought about it like this, but it's coming through the records. Like, obviously using psychic resources, you do need to have risk assessment, because you can get all sorts of messages, and if you just go off, and believe me, I have done this in the past, go off gung-ho with some kind of like intuitive insight or radical way of thinking about something, and suddenly you can find yourself in a highly complicated, chaotic and complex situation. So obviously that logical mind is really, really powerful, but I'm really hearing that it's about you finding this real balance between the two. But I do feel again that your logical mind will give you the risk analysis of what your intuitive guidance is telling you. And it's really important to consider the risk analysis from your logical mind about whatever intuitively came in. And funny enough, I'm actually getting shown a vision of, say, a stock market trader. Obviously not in any way saying that you are, I'm just saying that this is a metaphor that's coming through an image. And basically what I'm seeing is somebody that started to become way more in tune and starts to realise part of the reason why they're coming really in tune with what they're doing as a stockbroker is because they've been doing it a long time, right? So they've already starting to get that instinctive wisdom because of their experience. So they have starting to get this real instinctive wisdom. Then it's starting to increase even more, and maybe they're starting to become startled that they're really being able to predict things in a new way. But at the same point, they're still absolutely very mindful of the risk analysis of any situation that they go into. So even if their intuition says this is amazing, this is great, go, they still check it through the protocols and the filters of what is the risk analysis in this situation normally. And then they do something like, let's say if the risk analysis is something like this is 70% risk, usually they would obviously epically like rule that out, but maybe their intuition has said something like, no, there's something powerful here. So what they do is they honor the risk assessment, which is just like, there's no way I'm taking a 70% risk on whatever this trade is that I'm doing, but they say, okay, let me just watch this play out, let me see what this is about, let me not react, but see what happens by me doing nothing, and therefore I can gauge what my intuition is trying to say about what is so important about this trade. Because actually it might not be that it was going to give me money, which is why my risk analysis said no, but it was that by paying attention and watching, I got to understand something else about, let's say, a certain currency with a certain news event, which usually I would totally dismiss. And then maybe over time he follows that new pattern, that new awareness that he's spotted, and then let's say 18 months down the line, another situation comes up again. Intuition says, yes, go for it. Logical mind says, this is a huge risk analysis. But then the combination of the risk analysis and the intuition and the experience of the past, of him following this past pattern, realizes, no, wait a minute, I can see that this is actually an opportunity because I've watched and I've tracked this kind of pattern now for a long, long time. And even though it's a volatile pattern, I can see that all of these other things are coming into play, which massively brings down the risk assessment. Now I know how to view it in this way because of my experience, and therefore I feel confident enough to now take this risk, but I will do it with caution in some way. It's that kind of metaphor is what I'm describing. So I suppose it's about being mindful. Sometimes your intuition might throw something up to you which is really, really powerful, but this is not quite the moment to act on it. This is the moment to start watching that interaction, watching that pattern, watching and observing whatever it is your intuition has flagged up to you as being really, really important and profitable. And then it's at some point in the future, because it feels like there's a time element with this, that then that becomes gold dust to you. So I suppose remember the time element with this. And also I suppose with Capricorn and Saturn anyway, you know, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Saturn has this real thing about being the time lord. So I feel like timing is something that's critically important for you. And it's funny actually as well, because when I first saw this, my guides did show me like somebody sort of juggling, even though that's usually a Two of Pentacles energy. But even in this Two of Wands, it was something about some kind of juggling energy, but not because it's like Two of Pentacles where it's like an indecision and instability. This was shown to me as the skill of timing. So, you know, like a juggler has to be really skillful about knowing how to coordinate the movement of two different balls in the air with two different hands. It's this skill of timing as well that I do really feel is something that's going to be coming in for you guys, and it's going to require, I'm hearing finesse, and it will require this thing about the collaboration between your logical mind and your intuitive mind. And risk analysis, risk assessment just keeps coming up over and over again. But anyway, let's just pull this one over now. Okay, and then we have Five of Inspiration. Again, that just comes up to me instantly that... Just one second, let me just think of the energies that are going off. There's something about, again, communication that's really, really important, and your creative projects or what it is you're trying to do. And again, I'm sort of feeling like there's this kind of thing of just give me one second. It's... Again, there's this real thing about if you can open yourself up to communicating with a person that you usually have a boundary to, or a certain political view that maybe you have a boundary to, or a certain scientific view that you have a boundary to, or a certain religious view that you have a boundary to, or I don't know, a certain institutional or community or a person that you have a boundary to. There's something about that person or that, you know, institute or community or whatever. I don't know, it's so important to the progress of your creative energy and the pleasure that you bring into your life. And like I say, I know it's got a wormhole to do with something to do with the money that you receive, the wealth that you receive. And it is really, really important to go into that. So I think you need to intuitively feel into what that is, because I do feel it's going to be different for all of you. I'll just get a couple more. Just to see if we can just get a little bit more on that. I'm hearing two. Actually, one of my guides said three. We'll do three then. We do read them reversed apparently, so let's have a look. Okay, so you have Strength in reversed. Okay, so I do feel like there's going to be a clash of pride or a clash of egos. Just from a clash of two strong points of view is going off in the past to do with that. All right, okay, then we have Awakenings, then we have Judgment. So yeah, I do really think it's about seeing this clash with this person or this community or this belief system in a really new way. All right, and then Three of... I love this one. This to me is this card which says my mind is many minds, but because it's in reversed, it feels like... Yeah, it just feels like just be really, really careful that you don't dismiss somebody's perception or insight or point of view even. Because it might not even be that they're giving you guidance, but it could even be something that you hear on the news, or I don't know. It's a point of view that you really don't usually agree with, but there's something about considering that point of view in a new light, which is going to, like I said before, previously, it's going to start opening up your energy field and opening up your ability to greater collaboration. It's like you don't even ultimately have to agree with that point of view, but just by considering it in a new way and really recognizing that there are some, either understanding that person's point of view, so even though you don't agree with it, you truly understand it. And it's not just about intellectually being like, oh no, I understand what you're saying. It's more like you'll feel it on a very visceral heart level, like you'll really, really get it. It could be something like that, or it could even just be that this point of view means that you research something, and in researching whatever it is, or by you having this conversation about this point of view with somebody else differently, it then also opens up some form of opportunity. But again, I'm seeing that there's a time delay on this, so it's something that you'll come back to, let's say in 18 months, or less than that, probably less than that, because the energy will move really, really quick next in 2021. But you'll remember this point and be like, oh right, God, yeah, that was the inception of me having that conversation with that person that led to that communication, which then led to that contact, and then that contact ends up being like my partner, my business partner, or introduced me to my partner or business partner, or I don't know, there's something about it that's kind of like, it's almost like I feel it's like a trail. It's like following the white rabbit, but I feel like this is like it's not a white rabbit, it's a different coloured rabbit that you wouldn't usually associate with an opportunity, essentially. But it's by going with it that then actually the opportunity starts to transpire. I mean, that's literally the best way that I can describe that, and that totally feels like what that is. Just 1 second, I'm just getting a message for you guys. Okay, so I don't know if you guys know this, I just channel some random messages from my guides. They give it really, really cryptic, and then in the extended, we pull cards out to do with it and get more detail. And I just got this message, which was, treat the door with respect and the floor will open up. So I'm gonna put that there. That's interesting. We'll obviously go into that and see what that's about. Cool, so now I'm just gonna pull a couple more cards for you guys. So, oh, sorry, oops, damn, oops. You see sudden movements, I just know they're not ideal in 2021. They are going to come in, but then it's just about readjusting to stability and then moving on again. Just a little random thing came in there anyway. So let's just see which cards we get. Okay. I do feel like a power animal card for you guys as well. Let's see. Get a Shaman card. Ooh, I feel like it just needs to be that one. There. And then, yeah, one of these cards. So let's see what we get. Okay, so we have music and joy. Okay, this is this 5th house. This is this house where Uranus is in. Like I say, pleasure. Things to do with pleasure is going to be mixing up for you in a good way though, but we'll go into that in more detail. Oh wow, nice. Then we have magic. Love that card. Again, this feels something to me about divine protection, and it's this gateway. It's something to do with this gateway, but we'll go into it. Then I act respectfully of others. Oh my goodness, that really is kind of what I suppose another level of what we've been saying about communication and allowing different communication to come in that you would usually have a boundary to. But obviously we will go into that in more detail. Birthing. Again, that reminds me of this whole gateway, this new gateway thing coming through, but we'll find out exactly what it is that you are birthing. Oh nice, Nightingale spirit, love is all around. I'm just really getting a message that something is in a package that you wouldn't necessarily recognise. And yeah, there really is this thing that I've picked up a few times about, and I suppose I haven't quite vocalised it, but something is not quite what it seems. Someone or a certain situation or whatever is not quite what it seems, but it's in a good way. It's in a really, really good way. It's like a really, really good thing. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so anyway, what we'll do is we'll leave it there. We will go into the extended. We will channel this crystal to see what's going on there. I totally love this crystal. We'll obviously go into this message here. Treat the door with respect and the floor will open up. And then we will have a look at all of these, the magic, the joy, the respect for others, the birthing, and what this nightingale wants to tell us. We'll definitely find out what this thing is that you're birthing so that you can be open to that opportunity. Because I feel like whatever is birthing, it's subtle currently, and it's just about, I don't know, it's just thinking about, it's timing, it's knowing the timing of something that's really, really powerful. And then obviously at the very end, we will go through into, we will get one of the I Ching cards and we'll pull it out and read it personally for you so you can take your own message, because the I Ching is so potent. So guys, I hope you enjoyed that reading. It was my pleasure to read for you. Like I say, you can find me on Instagram on Abigail Grace Psychic, and also Facebook. There's also my other YouTube channel, See It Like a Psychic. So I think you'll probably find that useful as well, because it just gives different ways of navigating. Because I do really feel like your psychic abilities are going to be opening up massively, and it's about you now integrating those in a very practical way, so they literally create greater resources and wealth in your life, both money and love and the whole entire lot. So yeah, check out my YouTube channel there. And if you do want to buy this extended reading, which would be awesome because we'll really go into a lot of stuff, you can find that on my website, abigailgracepsychic.com. Cool. And then last of all, just say to you is, remember, you can come back to these readings as many times as you want in 2021. And also, you know, because there's a lot about your intuition and trusting your intuition, at some point in 2021, come back to this channel and just see what's going off in your life, see where you want guidance, and ask your intuition to tell you which is the zodiac sign, which zodiac sign should I go to receive my message. And like I say, just go with it. If it says Taurus, go with it. Even if you've got nothing to do with Taurus in your birth chart of significance, just trust that that's where the message will be, because I've also generated these readings to be like that, like a wild card. So cool, lots going on. And just remember, timing and inclusive. Timing and inclusive feel massive. But yeah, I look forward to reading for you guys soon. See you soon. Bye. So thank you for letting me read for you. That was totally my pleasure. If you'd like the extended reading, you just need to go over to my website on abigailgracepsychic.com. I'll leave all the links below. There's the choice for you to buy one reading, one extended reading, or multiple extended readings, and there's different packages that you can go for, so that you can get the most out of it. Just bearing in mind that 2020 was crazy and 2021 is still very much a huge tipping point, and so much new energy is coming in. But when anything begins, there are always unpredictable moments. There's different things that kind of go off. So hopefully these readings, particularly if you use them in whatever way your intuition tells you to, you'll be able to get the most out of how you can leverage whatever situation you find yourself in 2021. Also, just bearing in mind that these readings are relevant anytime in 2021, and you can come back to these readings and you might find different numbers become relevant to you. So just be as creative and intelligent as possible with all of these readings, so you can leverage any situation and you can do awesome, because I do believe we all can. Speak to you soon. Hi Capricorn, so this is for all of you that chose message number 2 for what your Akashic Records want to tell you guys at this moment to do with 2021. So we will go into the crystal in the extended reading, so I'll just put that to the side there. I love that colour. First of all, we'll go straight into your stone. So what do the Akashic Records want to tell you? Oh my god, I've just had to have the most massive yawn there. So whenever this happens to me, if I was ever doing energy healing or, I don't know, reading or whatever it might be, I always know, like, if I'm yawning like that, it's like a massive release of energy is going to be occurring, like a real, like, releasing of pressure is kind of like the feeling. So I definitely think that's something that's going to be relevant for you guys in 2021. But I'm also really seeing that your 6th house in astrology is being lit up. So your 6th house for ascendant Capricorn is in Gemini, and it's where the North Node is. The North Node is the point in the chart that always pulls somebody towards their destiny or their highest potential. So I'm really kind of seeing that I'm actually getting that the energy of collaboration towards working towards common goals is really, really important for you in 2021. And I'm actually seeing like it is quite a year of building on things, working on things, being consistent with things. And I do feel like there is a lot of work that's going to go on for you guys in 2021. But I also do really feel like it's also going to... I don't feel like it's going to be heavy. at all. I think sometimes it will be quite fun, it will be quite playful. Other times I think it will be super, super busy and there's just like so much going on. It's like you're having to multitask loads. And I do sometimes think at moments it will feel like it's speeding up massively. And just when you think it can't speed up anymore, I think it will then go up a level and speed up even more on top of that. Because I'm kind of seeing like the theme tune of Flight of the Bumblebee. But also the bumblebee there is also making me feel like the communities and working towards the common goals is really, really important. And I do really feel as well that you need to, or not need to, but consider as well that from the psychic perspective, you are a microcosm all of your own, like your cells, your DNA, your mitochondria, the fungi, the bacteria, the natural viruses that coexist in your body, you know, all of these sort of things happen in all of our bodies. Then on top of that, you've got all of like the cellular memories from the different lineages and the ancestors that you come from. I don't know, you're just like this massive walking ecosystem. And so I'm also really hearing that it's really important to have like really good routines on a day-to-day level to do with collaboration within your own being, your own self. Like, I guess it's things as well about how you're, you know, your nutrition, how you're exercising, what routines you have on a day-to-day basis that are healthy and inspiring and collaborative for you as a being on planet Earth, let's say. And I do feel like that is really important. I'm also hearing that routines and consistency on your day-to-day level will be really important, because for everybody there'll be sometimes some quite dramatically shocking things that can occur, either good or bad, or, you know what I mean, it's neither or. It just depends on how it plays itself out, and this is energy that's affecting all of us in 2021. So I'm hearing that it's really important for this pile as well to make sure that you're constantly able to work towards your goals in a collaborative manner. It's really important that you have routines that are consistently occurring on a day-to-day basis, so that when something comes in that's surprising, you're already fully grounded in the routine, that it doesn't knock you off to the same extent. And I'm hearing that's really important. I think as well something a bit like that came up for message number 1 as well. So yeah, I'm really seeing that too. I'm also seeing like children like playing in a field with like some bunny rabbits, and I don't know, it just got a feeling of, this is really interesting, it's got a feeling of carefreeness about it. Now I know that that's going to seem like, what? Because I am already feeling like, what do you mean carefree? That seems like out of juxtaposition with everything. But I think it's showing you that there are going to be moments in 2021 that really will be like a lot lighter and a lot more, let's say, joyful. And so even though there might be some hard work that's needing to be going on for you guys, there also will be these moments coming in. Or there'll potentially be people that you're working with, actually. I'm hearing that too. The people that you're collaborating with in whatever way, I feel like they're going to help like lift like the mood, as it were, like make things a lot lighter, make things a lot more brighter. And again, this just makes me feel like this whole thing about who you're collaborating with, the communities that you're linked in with, all of that kind of energy is really, really important. Or that you've actually even just got a goal that you're really focusing on a day-to-day level. So say if there's something that you're really wanting to bring into your life, whatever that might be, something you're wanting to manifest, I'm also hearing it's really important just to really start to bring in a small, simple, uncomplicated routine to do with that manifestation on a day-to-day basis. And that will be really powerful as well. I'm also hearing as well for some of you, like the first thing I got was, oh, the mother's really important. So I'm getting this feeling that, you know, feminine energy, you being able to access your own feminine energy through relating, creativity, intuition, nurturing, just being receptive, being in a state of flow, being in a state of receiving, being in a state of surrender is going to be really important as well in 2021, or whenever you're listening to this reading. Because again, I'm really hearing like there's things that you can control and there's really things that you can't control. And actually it's taking full initiative of the stuff that you can control. And then the stuff that you can't control, it really is about stepping into that like feminine energy of like flow, accepting, surrendering, but still being open to when the moment changes again. And then there is, I don't know, some kind of action that then you can take in that specific direction. And I'm really getting this thing like it is important not to be forcing stuff in 2021. I'm really hearing that actually. Let me just see where Mars is in your chart. Where is Mars? Okay, so at the beginning of the year, Mars is just coming out of Aries into Taurus and stuff. Okay, so I feel like it's really important, depending on when you listen to this video, that in the end of, well, the beginning of February and March, I feel like is an important time for you to be taking decisive action. And if you're watching this video after that time period, pay attention to what you were taking decisive action on in February and March, because I really do feel that's significant with whatever's going off with you now. And I do really feel that there's something as well about what happens in February and March that will have relevance again in December when Venus goes into retrograde in Capricorn. So there's something that's important. I feel like you're working towards something, particularly in terms of how you do relationships, how you do relating, that is really, really important. And there's whatever happened in February and March has really got some significance to what's going to happen in December, and then the bits in between that time period, so all of those months in between, it's kind of like you're working on something to refine and to, I don't know, gain a better skill to do with how you do with relationships. And I do think a lot of this, just because it's come out for a lot of the other records as well, is very much to do with communication, because obviously we have the North Node in Gemini in the sign of communication, and also all the Mercury retrogrades are in air signs in 2021. So again, there's this real thing about communication. I do really feel like, just give me 1 second. I'm actually also hearing just watch your back to do with communication as well, because I'm hearing that not all things are always as they seem, and that actually it's about you being almost like savvy and street smart. That's it, because also Gemini can have this energy of being street smart. Gemini energy can talk to anybody from, I don't know, somebody in one end of life to somebody in a completely different end of life. It's understanding that hustle of communication. So it's almost like you can blend into any kind of culture, and along with that means that you're also blending in and you're understanding darker cultures, lighter cultures, however you want to say them, you know what I mean. And there's a side of life where I'm hearing this thing about like knowing your opponent with stuff can be really important. And also almost like knowing the dark side of you as well as the light side of you, and knowing how to work with those different aspects of yourself without actually dissociating from any or ignoring any parts of you. Again, it's about I'm hearing like being street smart within yourself and your own understanding of yourself, and almost how to hustle with yourself to create the things that you do want to create. So I'm also feeling like life is probably particularly to do with, if you're employed, to do with your working life, or I don't know, some kind of thing that you do on a day-to-day basis which will involve you communicating with more different people. So that'll be different for all of you in whatever way it is. I'm hearing that it's really important that you stay mindful to all different types of personalities, all different types of what do you call it, like points of self-interest. That's it. Start to become aware of people's self-interest. It's not a bad thing. It will just help you better navigate conversations in the direction that will help you also create what you want, which is also like a self-interest point. And there is something important about not being polarized to do with something like that, like not just being real, being really real. And again, it's that street smart vibe that I'm getting. So it's kind of like, which you guys will get, it's like being really practical, but at the same time understanding and working with that more subtler parts of each person that you're communicating with, either if that's the psychic understanding, the psychological understanding, whatever. It's like bringing them all together. But I'm hearing that, you know, any decisions that you have in 2021 that involve other people in whatever way that might be, always ask yourself, what's their point of self-interest? Because if you understand their point of self-interest, you'll have a better understanding about how to also navigate to help you accomplish what you also want to accomplish within that dynamic routine or whatever it is. And I'm hearing that this is not about it's not about it's not about thinking about things in terms of manipulation, although obviously it is that appreciation that to some extent we all do manipulate anyway. It's just one of these things. It's but it's kind of, I think I'm just keep hearing this word about it's being street smart. It's really being street smart in all of the different decisions that come up, and I am getting this like hustling vibe for sure, like hustling in your day to day, whatever it is that you're doing. And I'm really hearing hustling to do with your craft. So whatever it is that is your craft, the thing that you work on, the thing that you become more and more skillful at. And I feel like in some ways this will relate to something you're wanting to manifest. It's definitely about... it's something about like meeting different people from almost different walks of life with different kind of understandings and perceptions and motivations, and it's being like really inclusive to all of them, and realizing that you can really interact and collaborate with everybody. It's just about you understanding how to do that most successfully, and you'll understand how to do that most successfully if you understand the motivations of the people that you're wanting to collaborate with, or whatever that might be. Equally, by you understanding the motivations of some people, you might realise that this is not quite the way for you to collaborate, because you realise in some way it's misaligned, let's say. But all of this, I just keep hearing, is you're really going to get it out of understanding the motivations of the people around you, particularly in your day-to-day. And also I'm really hearing, don't, if you can, don't be exclusive to anyone, because even people that potentially have motivations that you don't feel comfortable with, I'm hearing that there's like there's something you can really gain by kind of going into those slightly more uncomfortable spaces and being open to whatever that is, while also feeling safe and stable and secure within yourself. There's something really powerful about that. And there was a little something of that came out in message 1, so that must be quite a bit of a theme for Capricorn. But anyway, let us see what is going on for you guys. So I'm being shown that we need to do this in the shape of a V. Not had a V before. And we read them all upright. So let's have a look. What's going on for message number 2? Oh wow, 2 of vases. So 2 of vases is like the 2 of cups in this deck. So definitely something about one-on-one relationships, one-on-one commitments, one-on-one agreements I'm actually hearing. Not heard that word like that before. Then we have the 9 of Swords. So obviously this is the 9 of Swords. This can be things, this can be worries, this can be concerns. Okay, I think this can be a little bit of fear of intimacy when I'm just seeing it like that, but we'll go into it in more detail. Okay, then we have the Chariot card. So definitely about using both your subconscious and unconscious mind to manifest with. And again, it's that thing we were saying about understanding yourself better, collaborating with all parts of your own consciousness and your own being. I do really feel like that's really, really important and powerful, but I'll find out a bit more of that. Oh, wow. Then we have the Judgment. Okay, so for me that is instantly just, I do feel like in 2021 there really will be the full completion of something, a big karmic cycle that you've been working on. I kind of feel like it's already been releasing anyway once the nodes of the moon came out of your sign and moved into the Gemini Sagittarius axis. But I also just feel like, for a lot of you this is where it's almost like there's just, you're coming out of the situation fully in 2021, but then it just almost takes your energy field just a little bit of time to fully harmonize to this new way of being and completely almost like release the old way of being, as it were. And I'm getting this image that I've been shown before by my guides, which is, imagine that I'm going to do this to do with a relationship actually. For some of you, I actually do think this is to do with a relationship, but also for a lot of you, it's to do with creative projects or whatever it is that you're doing. And it could also be to do with, to be quite honest, a lot of you of the releasing of family karma and family patterns, definitely because there was, just trust me, that's definitely something that's coming up, but or that has come up, sorry, and it's the thing that you're now like fully releasing and moving on from, because the Judgment is often the start of, or the completion of something, I always think. the realization of something, the changing of your consciousness from one vibration to a high vibration. That's what I'm feeling with that. But anyway, the image that I'm getting, that my guys really want to tell you, is you want to just imagine, and this is a metaphor, okay, but obviously just use this awareness of how energy can work and apply it to your situation. What you just want to be mindful of in 2021 is you just need to make sure that your planet, your whole being, I'm going to describe you as a planet, right? I'm going to pretend that you've been in a relationship with somebody, okay, or you've been in a certain situation, a working environment, and when you were collaborating either in that relationship or in that working environment, it was like you were both planets, and both planets were interconnected on top of each other, right? Then for whatever reason, it was to do with karma, whatever, you moved away, started to move away, or realised that that job, that manifestation, that person, whatever it was, wasn't right for you, you weren't right for them, etc. You worked through some karmic cycles by doing that, and therefore your planet slowly started to detach from each other. And now in 2021, it appears that you are quite far away from that person or that job or that idea or that desire or whatever it was. But what you've got to remember is there's still your energy fields that are interacting, because you want to think that they might be the planets, but their energy fields are a lot bigger, and the energy fields are around those two planets. And truly, for you to truly get into the new cycle with the new gifts that are available to you, with a whole new, I don't know, lighter karma, whatever it might be, whatever it is that you've been letting go of and walking away from, so a person, a situation, family karma, a job, a belief system, whatever it is, you need to make sure that you're fully disengaged and moved away from the energy of whatever is involved. Otherwise, it's still slightly interacting with your energy field. There isn't actually anything wrong with that, but all my guides are saying is to completely have a completely new beginning in something where you can be totally sure that you're not going to bring any of the old energy, situations, personality traits, difficulties, challenges of what you have been moving away from. You need to make sure you've disengaged from whatever it is long enough so that you as a being, as a planet, are completely and utterly back to almost like your pure vibration of you. And let's just say it in this kind of way, it's like there's no contamination of the past with you in that present, because you've allowed yourself to move away, to disengage long enough so that even your energy fields aren't interacting in that same type of way. And then this is the important thing I'm hearing, it's then like you being long enough in a single situation without whatever else it was interacting with you, that essentially your vibration is now synced back into your own frequency. And so once it's totally synced back into your own frequency, then you know you're going to be a vibrational match for something completely different than before. And if you have done a lot of work on healing, releasing karma, whatever it might be, this will be the ideal situation to be in, because then you'll be truly vibrating at this new frequency of new karma, of new patterns, of new whatever situations. And therefore any people, any jobs, any situations that you then attract to yourself in that situation, you know will be taking you up to this next level, which is what I'm really getting with this Judgment card. So, you know, with that, I think you just have to really feel into yourself what big, massive, and I do feel like it's a big, massive karmic cycle is being released, or has been released in 2020, and then be really honest with yourself. Like, do you feel like, are you 100% now disconnected, so 100% your own pure frequency? Can you feel like 25% of that old energy still sort of moving its way out of your energy field? Do you feel 50% of it moving out of your energy field, 75% moving out of your energy field? Like, almost like break up your energy field into 25%, 50%, 75% and 100%. And when you can truly feel like you feel like 100% that old pattern, that old cycle has gone, then you know that this is truly in the place to potentially therefore look at new opportunities coming in, new people, whatever it might be. So I feel like take that how it resonates for you, because it's going to resonate on all slightly different ways. And really all I'm trying to do is explain to you a principle of how energy can work, and just the important point to remember about where you're actually at. Are you still entangled in something from the past, even though you might not be physically interacting with it? Energetically, you might still have a bit of entanglement going on, and there is a real power, I'm being told, for this pile in just holding until you feel that energetic entanglement is no longer there, and then you'll really truly know you're stepping into a new cycle of stuff. this doesn't have to, like, you know, with the Nine of Swords here, I just want to say this doesn't have to, it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be difficult, it doesn't have to be painful, it doesn't even have to be slow. But I do think, again, it's like what we're channeling here. I think there's a little bit of a surrender moment, like a not pushing moment that's also quite important at whatever time you're listening to this reading. But to be fair, we also do have the Chariot, so I'm definitely going to go into that and pull some more cards. But let's just see what this one is here. Oh wow, the Devil. Okay, so for me this is just really reinforcing kind of what I was just kind of saying, because I mean, gosh, look, we've got the Chariot, Judgment, and the Devil. I think this is just, I think there is something very, very powerful in definitely making sure you don't have any entanglements from the past when you go to make movements of going in a new direction in the future. I think there's something really, really important with that. And obviously with the Two of Cups here and the things, it definitely, for a lot of you, definitely feels very relationship based. But I also do feel like the relationship, bearing in mind this could really be a family relationship thing as well, because, to be honest, because Uranus has been, if you're Capricorn ascendant rising, Uranus will have been in your 4th house for a long time, maybe about 8 years, and it's just now been able to move into a very different house about creativity, which is also a house of romance too. And I do really feel like there really is the opportunity to have a completely new romantic cycle in your life. But I also want to say a completely new way of connecting in your life on a romantic level. So even if you're in a relationship and it's a stable relationship, I really feel like it can move to a whole new level. I really, really feel like a lot of things will be leveling up for you on that kind of like relating, connection, collaboration, romance, all of that kind of thing. But at the same point, I do think this really is something that's saying, look, but also just be really, really mindful. I think this is what I'm hearing, being really, really mindful of past patterns, particularly to do with entanglement, enmeshment, codependency, that type of energy. Just be mindful of that, and just make sure that you're in a healthy place to do with that energy, essentially. Because remember, it's not like we have to be perfect. It's not like we have to all be, I don't know, the perfect example of, I don't know what the hell word you want to call it, in a relationship with no kind of, I don't know, attachment issues on any level. You really don't have to be perfect. I'm not hearing that at all. I just really think with the Judgment, I think this is something about being really mindful, and I'm also getting being really observant with the eye there. It's just about being really, really observant. And I do feel with the Chariot, almost like horses are going off in that direction, this direction, sorry, which I kind of feel is more like your past. I think it's saying just be really, really mindful of like the past patterns and cycles that you've had to do with codependency, enmeshment. I do really feel a big thing about enmeshment, I have to say. And I do really feel like this feels enmeshment to do with family lineage stuff, which also may therefore have been impacting on your actual romantic relationships. Yeah, and it could even be for some of you how it's played out in a working environment too, depending, because obviously you'll all be at different situations. But I do really feel like the pivotal thing for you guys in 2021, and whenever you're listening to this reading, is just be really, really mindful of everything that you have learned. For some reason this card, the Nine of Swords, is actually coming up to me. It's about everything you've learned through pain and struggle to do with relating, connection, but collaboration. I really keep hearing this thing about collaboration, because I don't know if some of you guys will maybe be aware of this in some ways, but how you do collaboration in your romantic relationships has really got some kind of bearing on how you do collaboration in your working environment, in whatever is the thing that basically gives you money, gives you revenue. I'm hearing that they're both really interrelated, and so it's really important to understand the pattern, either in how it is that you earn money or in how it is that you do intimate relationships, including family relationships like your primary caregivers, etc. Because these two things are interrelated for you guys for some reason in 2021. And actually, if you want to enhance one, let's say the romance part of your life, it's really important to understand this money pattern in your life. Equally, if you want to enhance the money pattern in your life, it's really important that you understand this collaboration, intimacy pattern in your life, because they're kind of interrelated in some way. And interestingly, that's what your Akashic Records and my guides are saying about the Chariot. You know how you usually have two horses pulling in different directions? It's more just kind of saying, look, literally your love life and your financial life are massively interrelated during 2021, and they'll have quite a lot of patterns. They'll have lots of patterns of similarity going on between them. And I'm hearing that the reason why these are so interrelated, particularly in 2021, or you'll become particularly aware of them in some way, is because the universe and life really wants you to kind of literally go into a whole new level in all areas of your life, to be honest. And the quickest way for you to do this is to sometimes have patterns playing out through multiple themes and areas of your life, because it starts to make that pattern like really, really obvious. And the more obvious a pattern is, the easier it is to see it, understand it, and therefore take very decisive action in a direction that you want. Essentially, it's about making everything unconscious conscious. And then once you make everything unconscious conscious, you're also no longer enslaved, I'm hearing, enslaved by unconscious programmings that you are not even aware are impacting your life. It feels, to be honest, it feels very significant. I do really feel by the end of 2021, for this pile, those that have chosen this pile, or wherever you are in 2021, I do really feel like, you know, by December, by the time there's Venus retrograde, which is kind of at the end of December 2021 into the beginning of January 2022, I don't know, there's something really powerful that's going to be happening for you guys around about then. But I do want you to be aware that whenever you listen to this reading, there is like a steady build up. There's like I'm hearing a salt course, but what I was seeing was more like there's a range of different scenarios and situations that you're going to go through over this year to basically have you in the optimum position for December for that Venus retrograde. Also, that Venus retrograde in Capricorn, it goes over very similar areas to what went over. Basically, it's interrelated to basically 2019 and 2020. Definitely the last half of 2019. So pay attention to whatever was going off in your life on a romantic level, particularly, and also to do with a monetary level. The end of the last half of 2019 and all of 2020, because there's something significant that will come almost to, it's not necessarily like a culmination point, but I feel like it's going to come to a leveling up period to do with those areas, money and love, by the end of December. And I do feel like to get yourself in the best situation possible for that, it really is to understand and work on anything to do with devil energy, which can be entrapment, like we said, enmeshment, codependency, addictions of any sorts, coping mechanisms, but coping mechanisms that become heavily either addictive or codependent, like you need them. There's something about looking at those and totally owning those, which then is going to put you into an incredible, powerful position by the end of this year. Now, I do also want to say for some of you, it's not that things are not going to start moving with money and love until the end of December. It's just that I feel like there's a really significant type of moment that either happens just before it, during it, or just after that time period, which you will then look back later in time and be like, gosh, yeah, that was a significant pivotal point. And I just really am hearing from your Akashic Records that they just really want you to just know that and be mindful of that. And obviously, the better you understand your own astrology, you could also just have a look at your chart, see what transits and stuff will be going off, like December. I'm actually hearing November, December, January and February of 2022, because it will give you a better idea also of what you're working with and where things are heading. But yeah, definitely to pay attention to these money patterns that interrelate with, or that don't even interrelate, but just again, the money, how that's going has got some relevance of how you do collaboration, and particularly romantic collaboration in whatever way that might be. Sorry, I'm just getting something else, but it just flicked off. Just give me 1 second. Just went. Oh, I'm just hearing again like this thing about being street smart and like understanding your own motivations. Like they're also the more deeper, unconscious, subconscious motivations to do with you and how you earn money, and also you and how you do, like romance, relating, collaboration, but like it's supposed to be like the joyful collaboration type of energy, because like that vision I saw in the beginning of like the children all playing together in like the fields with the bunny rabbits or whatever. It's very much about how you do playful, fun, enjoyable romance, kind of collaborating kind of thing. That's something that's really coming up as being really, really important. But anyway, let me just pull a couple more for this. And I'm just going to pull, I'm actually going to pull one more for all of them, to be fair. And apparently we do read these reversed if they come out reversed. I love these cards, so let's see. Oh, wow. The Tower with the Two of Cups. Okay, so we totally do know there's definitely some big shake-ups to do with, I just think it's romantic relationships. But like I say again, about how you collaborate about things that are enjoyable, things that you want to do, things that give pleasure. So it also could be like a working collaboration or an entrepreneurial type of project. I think life is pushing you something like that. So then we have the Knight of Wands in reversed with the Nine of Swords. So I think, guys, you do have to remember, particularly like I said, I could feel the flight of the bumblebee music. And it's like when you think things can't get faster, suddenly they get even faster. I think you have to be mindful about making sure that you don't get over anxious about things in 2021, particularly if you're really going to be changing some real patterns within yourself, which I really, really do feel like you do. And more than that, I feel like situations are going to start coming in which are a new vibration to something very new. And I do feel like for some of you at some points that will feel highly uncomfortable, or it will make you feel anxious, even if it's a really good positive thing. It's like, maybe like an example would be like somebody coming into your life that treats you amazing. You can't believe that they're treating you so amazingly. You're really into them, they're really into you, but then it suddenly starts to hit off some kind of like childhood insecurities about maybe being abandoned in some way. That's just an example, but it's just an example of how this energy could play out. But you kind of get the theme of it, and that's something you need to be mindful of. So something that becomes in your life which is really, really positive, which you're really happy to have, which starts to build up a lot of momentum, but then it triggers off a wounding from childhood somewhere, and then you're given a choice, basically. I do feel like this is, interestingly, a bit of a choice with the Chariot and the Judgment of like, okay, how are you going to handle this? Are you going to go into past patterns and past old neurological programming that you've got? Are you going to go back into old neurological programming, or are you actually going to I'm hearing like break again, I think I heard this in another Capricorn one, break the chains of the past and do this very, very differently. And I think the way that you do that is by honouring the fact that you might be being triggered, or you might be getting some concerns or some anxieties about some of these kind of things coming up that stimulate feelings from you from the past. So like very much inner child type of work. But then I do really feel like you'll have done a lot of this, even if it's unconscious. So 2021 is the choice for you to almost be like, no, I'm not falling into those patterns anymore. I am now going into this new way of being. And I do really think this is totally something that you can do, but it's almost like it's by unchaining yourself. Because it's like I'm being shown somebody that's like tied to a wall and they've got a chain around their leg. But the thing is, they do have the key. It's just for some reason they're really nervous to like put the key into the lock and release themselves, because in some ways they feel so comfortable with the discomfort that actually it almost feels more scary and more anxiety to release themselves from the burden, if that kind of makes sense. That's the kind of energy and vibes I think you just need to consider. But let's just see what's going on here. Yeah, nice. So then we have Temperance with the Devil. So absolutely, this tells me you guys are totally going to be breaking these chains of the past. And I do really feel that, guys, because you've been working on some stuff. God, whenever the South Node is in your sign, like it had been through like some of 2018, 1920, and also this Saturn energy anyway, so Saturn can be quite full on. you know, I do really feel like you've worked through this, but there will be some kind of choice point where it is that you have to almost, well, you do have the key to release yourself from the chains from the past now. It's like, I feel like the other years you didn't have the key, so you were kind of trapped in some kind of level in some kind of way, but literally now you do have the key. And so it's like, what are you going to do with that now? And I do feel like you guys are going to be given this choice. And I feel like you'll be given the choice because some great options and opportunities will come in. But for you to fully say yes to them and commit to them, that is the equivalent of putting the key in the lock and releasing yourself. So there's going to almost be that kind of choice point about what you're going to do. And then Judgment we have with the Queen of Materials. Again, to me, this is just saying this thing about, I do really feel like the feminine energy thing is important, like we were saying. So make sure you understand when to let go, when not to push, but when to remain completely open and receptive. That's really important. And I do just really feel like there is this thing with money. There is an opportunity to have money in a way that you've not had money before. And I'm going to leave it as broad as that because it's different for so many of you. It's like some of you truly becoming your own authority with money. Some of you who are already in authority with your own money, it's kind of like it's now creating it in a much more joyful way or a much more entrepreneurial way. Or I don't know, it's some of you that have even had money but find it difficult to spend that money. It's like starting to spend it on things that you enjoy. I don't know, it's different for all of you. There's all of these different ways that are playing out. But there's absolutely this thing about money being responsible with money, which I know obviously a lot of you will be anyway. It's kind of like being responsible with money, but it's also now using money to create more than what you've ever had before. And it's definitely about stuff to do with enjoyment. Now, this doesn't mean it's on, I'm not saying this means it's on holidays or anything like that, or whatever you call enjoyment. It's more just a case of, I don't know, it's like the vibration of the money that you have is going to be changing, and therefore how you use that money is going to change. And I just feel like it's going to become a lot more lighter. It's not that it's becoming irresponsible in any way, it's just that either it's coming to you in a more healthier means, or you're going to be spending it in a more healthier means, or even you could be saving it in a more healthier means. There's just something that's a lot more balanced, and it feels really empowered, this type of energy. And maybe if you have a lot of money, it's almost, maybe for some of you it's like how you're sharing it more. Maybe you're able to share more in a new type of way, or in a sort of, in a softer, more nurturing way. Basically, whatever is happening with your money patterns, because you've all got totally different money patterns, it's just that it's going to become more nurturing. It's going to become much more nurturing. And it feels like it's going to become much more relaxed, happy, that sort of energy. So I don't know where this will be at, because I really am getting quite a few different scenarios, and some of them are quite deep, so I'm not going to go into all of them, but hopefully, because I can feel them and your Akashic records are open, you'll start to feel what is this for you, if that makes sense, because the Akashic records are really powerful like that. But anyway, let's just see what's going on here. And then we have 7 materials in reversed with the Chariot. So I do just really think as well, this is about you really going for what it is. Like I say, get really clear on your motives, understand all your motives and your personal interests, as in your, self-interest, sorry. And then also understand the motivations and the self-interests of, I don't know, the romantic partners or the business partners or the friendships or the people you're going to collaborate with in whatever way. And then just start applying that awareness without overthinking about it in any way. Definitely be careful you don't go into overthinking. I think that is important. And I just have this feeling that a lot of you, if you go into overthinking, I think you're more prone to go into like a sort of an anxiety, a sort of like, I don't know, like this flight of the bumblebee thing, like just all over the place sort of thing. And so I think you just want to be mindful of that. And one of the ways that I'm seeing that you'll get through that is kind of being quite decisive with your thinking patterns, and therefore being quite decisive with the actions that you take as well. I can see that that's really important. Sorry, I'm just getting a message. Let me just write it down. Oh no, I don't. Cool, sorry, just couldn't find a pen. Just seeing it right in the middle. Okay, so these always come out really weird, and then in the extended we just pull out additional cards and we get some really insightful stuff over this. So this just says here, will you choose oranges or peaches? And I do really feel like it's significant because I felt like I had to put it right in the centre. And actually, to be honest, it looks quite like the colour of that. But anyway, cool, so we'll have a look at that in the extended. Now I just want to get a couple more cards. Okay, so what does message 2 also need to know? I feel like as well, the way your spreads come out like a V, it kind of feels like stuff's coming out, stuff's kind of blossoming is kind of like the vibe of what's going on as well with this. So I know that obviously we've talked about there is a couple of heavy things coming on, but it does ultimately feel like everything's blossoming and everything's expanding and everything's growing is kind of the energy I'm kind of feeling with it. For some reason it feels like it goes here. See, and then what else do we want? Just want one more. This one. Okay, let's see. So we're not reading these reversed apparently. Okay, so we have the Holy Mountain. Then we have I communicate with compassion. It's interesting, there really is this like orangey theme as well. Crystal, oranges or peaches, both orangey. This kind of feels really orangey. Let's see what we have here. Oh, wow. Wormhole. I love this card. So this says serendipitous meeting, shortcuts, secret link. Oh, nice. And that's right under the message, will you choose oranges or peaches? So I'm interested to hear what that's all about. I do feel, and actually this is something that came up in, I'm going to do a video where I just put together just random things that all the Akashic Records have come out as general themes. And it did also talk about wormholes and how healing will be quite different and how there is almost like you have a change of something changes in one area of your life, or you work psychologically on something in one area of your life, and even though you don't see that area of your life change, you see another area of your life change. There's very much that kind of energy going off. However, I'm being told that's not what wormhole is for you here, but still I just thought I'd say. Then we have thunder drum. Okay, that feels powerful. And then we have silence, snow. Okay, cool. So what we will do is we're going to take this into the extended. We'll obviously channel the crystal. We'll actually also go into this message here. And then we'll look into all of these different extendeds and see what's going on. So there's definitely things around. I'm going to be honest, that sacral chakra is smashing out massively, but so is your 9th chakra, the soul star chakra. I think this is going to be really powerful. I'm not sure what this is, but I feel like there is an opportunity for something to come very quickly for you, but it's noticing it's there because it might not appear like, I don't know, there'll be a bit of illusion about something, but we'll go into that. But then there is also something you've been manifesting that feels like it's just about to come into fruition. However, it does feel as well like there's something that you need to be careful with in terms of timings, and timings came up in the other pile. So yes, we will go all into that in the extended. And we'll also pull an I Ching card from the I Ching, and I'm just going to read it out of the book so you can get the total, like the original message from the I Ching, and you can put that together with this message. So cool, I hope to see you in the extended. You can get that on my website on Abigail Grace Psychic. I'll leave links below. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook on Abigail Grace Psychic. I post lots of different things there. And you can also find me on See It Like a Psychic, another YouTube channel, where I try and describe a bit more of kind of like psychic kind of energy concepts. Almost a bit like what we were describing in the beginning about the whole, you know, planets. When you're with somebody or a certain situation, you know, you do need to leave time for not just to get off each other's planets, but to get out of the gravitational pull of each other's energy fields and therefore sink back into your own natural frequency, so then you can attract something new that doesn't hold energy from the past. So I discuss stuff like that in there as well, so you might find that useful at times. But other than that, thank you so much for letting me read for you, and hopefully I'll see you in the extended. Speak soon. Bye. Hi there, Capricorn. So this is message 3 for all of you that chose the Capricorn archetype, and message number 3 for what your Akashic Records wants to tell you right now during and about 2021. So we'll go first of all into your stones. We'll do the crystal in the extended reading. So I'm just going to put that to one side there. And first of all, go straight into your stone. So, what do the Akashic Records want to tell you? Okay, so I'm hearing quite a few things actually. So, first thing that I'm really hearing is the words breaking of a new dawn, dawn of a new day. And I'm also seeing like a shoot, you know, like a little plant, like breaking its way through pavement up into the sunlight. And really what I'm getting with this image is, I mean, to be honest, I am getting so much. So let me just blurb it all out and then let's just see how it goes. Okay, so I'm seriously getting the vibe of like this Capricorn archetype. The energy of you holding is very much like it's come under a lot of pressure in 2020, for sure, like a lot of compression points. And I feel in many ways it's because in some ways you're very responsible for someone or a group of people, or I don't know, you have a lot of responsibility and you have a lot of authority to do with something, and you've definitely come under quite a lot of pressure with this, particularly over last year. And I feel like internally sometimes you felt like this is, I have to say, this message is super specific. So obviously, if, you know, just if it doesn't feel right for you, do another number, but because it's so specific. But also maybe stay with it, because you might find everything I'm talking about it, like see it as a metaphor as well, so you can make sense of where it relates to you. But anyway, so let me just get back to it. So it just feels like there's, you know what, you have had a lot of compressions like placed on you, and I think it's caused a lot of, I'm like hearing like compression fractures. So where it's almost like there's too much weight to bear, and like there's been a buckling of a structure or a system or a belief system within you or something like that. But however, equally, and this is a really interesting thing, I can also really feel that I don't feel like you feel downhearted or anything like that to do with what's happened. It's just more a case of you're kind of very entrepreneurial in this way. You're always like thinking of, okay, now what shall I do? Okay, so that's happened, right, what should we do? Right, okay, so what I need to do is this, and then you take the action, and then you assess, did it work or not, and then you come back to the drawing board, and then you decide what to do, and then you agree on what to do, and then you take the action, and then you reassess how successful it was. And it's just like literally copy paste, copy paste, copy paste of that kind of energy is how you've been applying yourself in your life. And so it kind of feels like, even though you've had a lot of things coming at you in the past, the past has also got you in a really good situation for 2021 and what's happening in 2021. However, there is this other thing where I don't know, it's really interesting. It's like I really keep seeing, like all the images that I keep seeing is like a government type energy of like big institutions, and obviously they've come under a lot of pressure during 2020. But at the same point as what I'm seeing in astrology, I'm really seeing like the Saturn, the Capricorn, the Uranus and the Aquarius energy. All of those archetypes are really coming together. So I'd also imagine that quite a lot of you have either got really strong Saturn, really strong Uranus, really strong Capricorn, or really strong Aquarius, or a mixture of all of those things, because I am really feeling like this is such a significant year for you guys. And again, those dates that I said in the beginning, I can't quite remember what they were, something like 1 in February, 1 in June and 1 in December. I think something like 14th of February, the 24th of December, and I think there's 1 in June and I can't remember. But those dates will be really quite pivotal for you guys. But I really feel like things will be building up to those points. So it's not, well, I say that because stuff could still be quite surprising and come out of nowhere. But the thing is that in some ways, I actually feel like you're going to be able to pretty well predict sudden things that are going to happen. I think you've got this feeling that you're going to be able to predict them pretty well before they happen. So even though some events and things might happen that are kind of sudden and out of nowhere, I really get the feeling that you you guys as a pile are really going to have already, and it's not even that you're using your intuition. I think you kind of got this thing of understanding systems. It's almost like and this is just like an example, and it won't be all of you, but some of you say will have been really good at gaming because you're really good at working out logarithms naturally. I feel like you guys have got this sort of just ability to read and understand systems, and it's your ability to read and understand systems and protocols which is actually going to give you this really great predictive power throughout 2021 and beyond. And I just really am hearing it's really important you pay attention to that. Like, really, really important that you pay attention to that, because things are still going to be happening in 2020, because you've got this really strong energy that I can feel activating your guys' energy fields of like the Saturn square Uranus transit, which goes on all throughout the year. And I would definitely suggest this pile, if it resonates with you, look at my pick a card for what your Akashic Records wants to tell you about the Saturn square Uranus in 2021, because I do just feel like it's really significant for this pile. I mean, it was so funny. It was like, even just before I began the reading, sometimes I'll get it. If there's like really potent energy that's really activated, before I even totally go into the Akashic Records, but I'm just aware, okay, I'm going into the Akashic Records in half an hour to do this reading, I'll already start somehow tapping into and downloading some of the frequencies. And honestly, it just came in really strong about this Saturn-Uranus square. So I also would suggest for you guys, definitely look in your personal charts as well and see where these aspects are going to be impacting you and your chart. And I've also got free extended readings for that pick a card about Uranus square Saturn. Just follow the link and it will take you to the free links of it all. And I've actually got a bit of a page where I've written some stuff about it. So maybe you can go into your charts and then work out what these things are happening, because don't worry too much about understanding the astrology per se in your chart. Just understand the dates and have a bit of an idea about what's going on. I think that will really help. Equally, if you've come to this reading, let's say, if you've come to this reading, I don't know, so like the end of 2021, I also just think I'll just pay attention to what happened in February, June, and then obviously be mindful of what's coming in December, because this is all really, really important. Also, this is really interesting. I'm actually seeing, because you guys have this real kind of authoritative responsibility, really wise kind of energy to you. One thing that you can actually do, I'm getting from your Akashic Records, is throughout 2021, track what's going off in major governments in the countries that are relevant to you. I don't know if you maybe live in one country, or you might have dual heritage, or I don't know. It's the country or the countries that are really significant and relevant to you. Pay attention to what happens to their governments during certain time periods, because this is so frigging cool. It's going to reflect something really significant also in your life, to do with responsibility, accountability, authority, leadership, all of those kind of things. So when you see something kicking off potentially in the government of the country that you live in, pay attention to see what also happens in your life during that time period. And then I think you'll start to find there's a bit of a pattern and a bit of a sequence to what happens in the governments and those kind of establishments, and also the higher education establishments, as to also what might play out with you. Now, before, I don't want any of you to panic and think, oh, what happening to the governments and the school industries is also going to be happening to me. No, it's not so direct as that, because you've got to see energy is quite fluid. It's like energy, what I'm streaming is an energy consciousness, right? And on one scale, it's to do with governments and establishments, but really it's all just to do with authority and leadership and responsibility and accountability. So it's really those kind of energies and things that are going to be coming up for you in 2021. And that's where the universe is going to be encouraging you to step up even more in this area. And even if the government of where you're from isn't necessarily doing very well, let's say at some points, it doesn't mean that will be that you're not doing very well. It might just be that this is a step up moment. This is a challenge from the universe, and it's how you can look at applying yourself, so that essentially it's almost like you get, I don't know why I keep seeing things to do with gaming, because I really never did gaming and I don't know gaming, but I'm seeing things like Mario Brothers, like, I don't know, make sure you pick up all of those extra additional gifts or like gold coins or whatever, just by going into a situation that's challenging and leveraging it as much as possible. I don't know, it's something like it's going to be giving you the equivalent of superpowers later on during your journey, and it's something that you can really capitalize on. And like I say, it's got a sequence of patterns about, you'll notice when something might be about to happen or come up for you, because you'll recognize that something is coming up within the country that you're living in's government or something like that. So really pay attention, find out, and it's so freaking cool, find out what is the sequence, almost like the harmonic symphony that you're kind of part of, to do with this energy of like leadership, accountability, responsibility, and it's definitely things about being responsible about for people or situations that are more vulnerable than you. It's this wise elder kind of energy, and I can really, really feel this. And I can also really, really feel that you guys are really well prepared for this, actually. So I don't know what situations and circumstances you've had in your life, but I feel like it's been building you up to a point where from 2021 onwards, you're going to be able to take this energy of leadership, accountability, responsibility, wise, wisdom, elder type of energy into a whole new level within your life. And you know what's really interesting, this can sound like, whoa, this sounds a lot and it sounds quite heavy, but I'm actually getting that for many of you it's gonna become a point of super enjoyment. And I know for some of you this will make sense, and half of you this will make sense, half of you this won't. But essentially, the more responsibility you take on, the more pleasure that you're gonna get, quite literally. Because I don't know, it's like I think it's just because it's going to really start resonating at a natural frequency within you, and therefore, I don't know, that's just going to cause you to have a lot more pleasure in your life in multiple different ways. And also, it's the people that you'll meet, it's the opportunities that you ultimately get presented with, are all going to take you into that place of, just like I say, way more pleasure. But also what I do feel like this is a long-term cycle I'm talking about. This energy that I've just talked about here, it's like it really gets incepted during 2021, but it like really carries on for like almost another 8 years to 10 years kind of thing. So this is really an energy that you're going to be working with for a long time, and it's something that you're really going to get to master. And I'm really hearing that you're going to be I mean this metaphorically, okay, when I say these words, but you're going to be like a governing body for many people, and you're going to do it in a whole new way, and you're going to do it in a way more humanitarian, kind of like, I don't know, tapped into collective consciousness and cosmic consciousness, which is going to be guiding you and divinely protecting you and divinely inspiring you. This is the sort of energy that I can really feel coming in for you guys. And like I say, the inception point is 2021, but it actually has a long-term effect for so much longer than that. So if you're really sensitive, you're going to feel this energy kind of really, really quick. And also for some of you that are more fine-tuned into the earthly realms of stuff, you're going to start to notice and feel this a little bit later. But either way, it will all have come as this inception point in 2021. Also, I do just want to say, don't overwhelm yourself or overload yourself with responsibility. As in, don't get overwhelmed by it. Don't dissociate when it gets too much. Equally, don't get anxiety when it gets too much. Find another thing that you can do, another way of handling it. And I'm actually hearing that it's very much to do with your partnerships. I feel like for you guys, having really solid partnerships, connections, friendships, I don't know, people that work for you or you work for certain people, it's really important that these connections, they're solid, they're sturdy, they're stable, they're reliable, they're practical, they're grounded, but they're also very, almost like sentient beings. They're very sensitive and in tune with the bigger aspects of life, as well as being completely locked in and grounded into physical reality. Like, I do just feel like this is really, really important. And I am just getting an additional message for ones of you that it's relevant to. Any of you that are seeking new partnerships or will be seeking new partnerships in 2021 and beyond, the characteristics that I've just described there are really, really important. It's like this real blending of the image that I'm getting is like a Native American chief is the sort of vibration of the people that you ultimately will do well to be connected with and invest your energy in. So it's people that are highly responsible, can handle responsibility, you know, don't have a problem with being authority, don't have a problem with authority either, but at the same time are very kind of like spiritual, very aware of the bigger cycles and the bigger pictures of life, and just sort of very emotionally grounded, emotionally stable. These are all the sort of qualities that will I'm just hearing be highly compatible for you. And I'm also getting for another small number of you, you might actually find that you start wanting to either hang out with people that have these qualities that we've just talked about, or that you're actually drawn to people more. And I'm also getting a subcategory here. So those of you that tend to be more, although to be fair, obviously you're all going to be pretty much into the energy and spiritual if you're watching this reading. For example, my dad asked me, and he's Capricorn, so what's the Akashic Records? I know that obviously you guys are like either know about it or are drawn to it in some kind of way. So, but anyway, the point is you might find that you're drawn to either collaborate with people that are way more grounded than you, or collaborate with people that are way more, let's say, I don't know, like, you know, energetic, spiritual, that sort of energy, you know what I mean? I feel like there'll be a very distinct pull, and it will be a very distinct pull to the opposite of what is normal for you. And I'm hearing that this is very much something that your soul is seeking, because it's going to be like balancing you out. And also it's just wherever it is that you stand with responsibility and accountability and leadership, you'll get a lot of powerful support and guidance through collaborating and connecting with people that ultimately are almost on the opposite side of the fence to you. Whether that is more grounded, less grounded, more spiritual, less spiritual, I don't know, because it honestly is different for all of you, and you just intuitively tune into and feel like what is right for you. I'm 100% like really feeling this vibe, because actually I'm hearing this as well, like the new kind of energies that's coming in, and the new kind of, I don't know, like realities and all the rest of it that is going to be created for the next 200 years. They are actually going to, believe it or not, be working for this more kind of, I wouldn't say it's necessarily balance, but it's kind of, it's not insecure, so it's able to collaborate with energies that have different points of view to its own, and therefore there is quite a big expansion in what humanity ultimately ends up creating, because there aren't insecurities that come in that block people from hearing good ideas, or block people from taking certain actions or working with certain people or whatever. Now that is like the higher perspective of where this is all going, and obviously it's not like this all just happens in 2021. It's going to take time for sure, but I suppose the reason why this is coming out and I'm being told to say this to you guys is because there's something really relevant about you. Again, I suppose it's come up a little bit in the other piles as well, but it's all got vocalized in a different way and has a different flavor to it. But there is this real positive thing about you having collaborations with people that do hold a different type of frequency to you. And again, now I'm seeing things like the mastermind group and Think and Grow Rich, where, you know, it's just this concept that, well, lots of people know that, you know, if you can afford it, it's really good to get advice from people that are specialists at what they do, especially if it's not your specialization. It's kind of like you're going to be working with that way more as well. So I do think that's another thing where, you know, keep your eye out for, if you need support, guidance, I don't know, whatever it might be, in your relationships, in your family life, in your health, in your wealth, in your business, in your job, whatever it is, it's really powerful to absolutely be expanding into different areas than you would usually, to do with specializations which you haven't yet accessed within your life. But if you find the right person who's specialized in it, you'll find what you can get out of that is like tenfold what you would imagine, essentially, is what I'm saying. And I'm keeping it quite brief, not brief, but I'm keeping it quite wide, because it's very different for all of you. So yeah, really weirdly, I'm being told I need to just keep this in the middle of the reading. Okay, I've not done that before, but all of the readings, they just, I don't know, my guys just tell me intuitively as we go along. So yeah, let's see what that's all about. Obviously what we we're just talking about there is a real pivotal thing. It's an axis point is what I'm hearing, like an axis point. So it feels like what I've just said there, everything else is going to be pivoting off that. So cool, let's just see where it goes then. And then obviously, I'll just get these cards out. So apparently we're not reading any of these reversed. It's really interesting as well, like sometimes when I channel straight out of the record, some signs it's really easy to do it for, sometimes it can be more difficult. You guys, it just feels it's been very easy, it's come out really succinct, and it's just, I don't know, it kind of feels like you guys are, obviously the sign of Capricorn is a super mature sign anyway, but I feel like with the South Node having been in your sign for a few years, it really has, like I say, I know it's squeezed you, I know it's compressed you, I know it's created fracture lines within stuff, but it's also really, it's strange. I don't know what would be the equivalent of this, but I'm seeing like a warrior energy, but a warrior energy within like a government type of establishment. So it's not like you've been like, you know, fighting as it were, like getting, but I feel like intellectually you have been put under a lot of different situations which have really caused your mind and your consciousness to like grow, evolve, mature, expand. And again, I'm seeing like this native chief energy. So you guys really hold this energy of, and if you feel like that seems ridiculous because you don't feel like that at all, this is an energy that you'll definitely be growing into, because this is something that is very much going to become part of your soul history, I'm hearing. But anyway, let's just see what's going on here. So we'll start here. Oh wow, I friggin' absolutely love that the first card we have out is the Sun, and in this deck I always think this is the most auspicious card. In some decks I see it as a raising consciousness, like an enlightenment about something, but this I just always see it as a good luck. So that is the first thing we pull over, so sounds positive. And then, oh, I love this one too. 5 of matches with a little rat. So I know this is 5 of wands. Interestingly, I never see this as the usual depiction with this card. This for me is absolutely about compassion. And it definitely obviously starts with compassion with yourself first, softness with yourself. But again, also communities. I really feel like mastermind groups so freaking powerful. You guys need a mastermind group. I don't know what it is you do. I don't know where it is you want to grow in your life, but this concept of having a mastermind group, a group of people that you work with that are experts in their own field, and those fields can be useful to you and your field can also be useful to them. I just see this as really important, and it's almost like this thing about diversifying. And I'm kind of seeing, because I know rats live in colonies, can't quite say that word, but I'm seeing all these massive groups kind of come together. And so again, I'm actually feeling very much an internet vibe as well. I don't know what you guys are doing or not doing, but there's something about you expanding in some way with the internet that will be really useful and powerful. But anyway, we'll get some more information. Oh, no way, another major arcana. So now we have the Strength card. So I'm actually getting quite a lot of Leo vibes out with this, because Leo is the lion and Leo is also rules the sun. And actually in your 5th house is Uranus. Uranus is currently going through your 5th house for about 8 years or something like that, depending on the size of your 5th house. It will take quite a long time. So I do really think as well, it's really important that you are going to be that thing that I said in the beginning about the astrology, like do tradition in a new way, create your own traditions that make sense to your now new belief systems and what it is that you want to do in your life. And I'm also hearing like being unconventional is going to be super powerful and potent for you. And what I mean by unconventional is, I mean it's like on a scale. You'll all be on different like we're all on a scale of where we are to do with being unconventional, right? Some of us are really unconventional, some of us are not unconventional, and I'm just hearing that wherever you are on that scale of being unconventional, it's about stepping it up 3 notches, become 3 times more unconventional in whatever way that is. But the key thing that I'm hearing here is don't step into the energy of unconvention that can be through somebody becomes unconventional because they're wanting to rebel against a system. Because I'm hearing that ultimately you guys are the system. You guys are the system. You guys are part of the new system. You guys are part of the old system that's becoming the new system. I don't know what, because it's different for all of you, but in whatever way, you guys are part of the system, and therefore to rebel against the system, it's like the native chief. And this is what I was saying about authority. I can feel like the Red Indian chief, he has no problem with authority because he is an authority. Therefore, for him to have a problem with other authorities is going to ultimately mean, as a reflection, he has still a wounding in some area to do with his own authority. And that will therefore create blind spots, challenges, and friction points when he becomes an authority for his people. And I think it's very much like getting that concept. So it's about being an authority, and it's about being unconventional, but it's not about being rebellious, and it's not about being an authority. It's being an authority in a healthy way. And I think one of the ways as well that's coming out of the Akashic Records is, and this won't be relevant for all of you, but for some of you, if any of you have, and definitely over 2021, if I don't know, things to do with government or establishments of any kind that you're part of, or any kind of restrictions that can be coming into to maybe feel like it's creating more restrictions. I don't know how else to say it, but it's also about recognizing. What I'm hearing is the way that a native chief would look at certain things like this is, okay, so that, I don't like that, and I don't like the restriction, but I do understand why they're doing it, and I do appreciate they're in a very difficult situation, because to actually be responsible for that many people when chaos and changes are hitting off it's almost a logistical nightmare. And it's really, really easy, therefore, to find complete fault in how it's being done, because in many ways it is almost an impossible task. So it's almost this compassion. That's it. It's having compassion for authority, particularly when authority gets into difficult situations, because actually it is a difficult job to be responsible for so many people. Whether you are responsible for like a family unit, family members, responsible in a certain area of your work, or you are responsible for the whole company because you're a boss, or I don't know, there's all these different ways that we can have responsibility. But it is also, it's having that compassion to do with other maybe different communities or different establishments that you don't necessarily believe in or agree with, but you can find that almost mature, elder, compassionate way of also viewing their situation. I'm hearing that is actually really, really important, because it's so important that you guys look at going into this space of more authority in your own life and being leaders. And at the same time, it's really important that you step into this kind of like a more unconventional, almost, I want to say maverick, innovative way of doing things. But that innovation needs to come from, not from a place of rebelling. It comes from a place of like vision, rather than coming from a place of resistance, if that makes sense. Yeah. And also, I do just want to point out here, I'm not saying, what would I say? I'm not saying whether it is right or wrong what governments are doing or not going to do in 2021. It's just not about that at all. But it's just about the energy and the frequencies, and how to make sure you still have a healthy frequency with something, regardless of how you feel about it. Is kind of what I'm saying, because ultimately we all hold these frequencies within us anyway. So to have a problem with one of these frequencies outside of ourselves in another type of external situation ultimately plays off in a more disruptive, chaotic way internally, where we also have that frequency, if that makes sense. That's the way I'm being told to say it. So yeah. But as well, this thing with the Leo, God, so much is coming out of your records. This thing with the Leo energy is, again, I do think there is something about you definitely taking more responsibility. And I'm hearing it's more responsibility to show up, particularly to do with, let's say, it's like a gift, a talent, but also just something that you're really here to share with the world, because you have a lot of experience to do with it, or you have a lot of interesting new ways of looking at something. Because as well with this part, I'm very much feeling like this, again, the Saturn and Uranus energy and the Capricorn and Aquarius energy kind of like all kind of coming in, as it were. It's very much about this, and I can see it in its highest potential. It's so friggin' beautiful. It's hard to describe. It's kind of like just give me 1 second. The way that you guys are going to be striving, or how to get to the highest potential with this energy that's coming in, is you want to think about this. You want to think of becoming the wise with also the innocence of youth. So the wiseness of age with the innocence of youth, and bringing those two things together and making harmony with them. And then it's also like using like the structure and the responsibility of an elder with also the independence and the freedom and the creativity of, again, like a young person going out into the world for the first time. It's kind of like bringing these two kind of very different energies together, but kind of harmonizing them. And this really is, I'm hearing, is what is going to bring you guys a huge amount of good luck. But to be honest, it's more than just good luck. It's going to bring you a lot of pleasure. It's going to bring you a lot of happiness. It's like joy, actually. It's not even happiness, it's like joy. It's pleasure and joy is kind of the energy that I'm talking about. But again, this pile, I really am talking about something that starts its weaving its web in 2021, and then it lasts for a lot longer. So yeah, it's that kind of these blending of seemingly opposing energies, which ultimately are not really that opposing either. Because like I say again, with these, like I say, Saturn and Uranus, I feel so strong with you guys in this energy. Ultimately, Saturn and Uranus, Capricorn and Aquarius are both basically connected to Saturn. Aquarius was the old ruler of Saturn, and obviously now Capricorn is like the new ruler of Saturn. So since we discovered Uranus, they decided that Uranus went to the Aquarius sign, and therefore it was just Capricorn that was left with Saturn. But obviously both of the roots of both Capricorn and Aquarius are this energy of Saturn. So actually, even though Saturn and Aquarius can seem very different energies, at the very, very core of them, they will have a lot of commonalities because they're joined together by the same planet, Saturn. And this is what I really, really feel with you guys. But I do feel like in order for you to like blend these two seemingly opposingly different energies, it's really about getting this level of self-mastery to do with the energy of authority, to do with the energy of being a rebel, to do with the energy of being unconventional, to do with the energy of being responsible. It's all of these energies that are kind of be coming together. And I don't know. Anyway, let me just keep going. It's just, oh wow. Okay, now we have another major arcana, the World. Again, this makes me totally think of collaboration. Such an energy of collaboration here, particularly because we've got the bee. I don't know if you can see the bee there. And then the person's hands. And I always think of the bee, funny enough, I really think resonates to do with Gemini. It's like this cross-pollination of ideas, cross-pollination of communication, of all of this kind of thing. And again, hands very much makes me think of Gemini. So, and Gemini is in your 6th house. That's where the North Node is pulling you to. So I really feel it, like all of these energies I've talked about, with the authority, the leadership, the unconventionality, all of these kind of things. It's very much about bringing all of this into your day-to-day routines, your day-to-day life, and also your day-to-day craft. What it is that you are refining, what it is that you want to have, that you want to contribute to the world. But I do also feel like it comes through an innate gift or a unique way you have at viewing something or understanding something or a situation. There's something about that that's really powerful, and like it's now time for you to really be looking at expressing that, sharing that. Because again, I'm just getting such the Gemini vibe with this actual card, because obviously I read them intuitively as well. And Gemini for me is very much a throat chakra energy as well. So there really is something about communicating. And again, to be fair, this Leo energy we talked about, Leo can very much be about self-expression. And self-expression is many things. And again, Leo rules the 5th house, and in your 5th house is that planet Uranus, which obviously I've said I can really feel this energy. So I guess as well, it's about finding new ways to be able to express yourself, or your self-expression is going to go through, I actually think, radical changes over the next 8 years with Uranus there. but I do also feel like a way to keep this as least disruptive as possible is to always also stay strong to the roots, to these Capricorn roots, almost to the energy of Saturn as well. So really like work with the energies of discipline, commitment, self-mastery. Like I always think Saturn is such a self-mastery energy. And also when things come up in 2021, which I do think they will for everybody, by the way, but I'm definitely also really feeling it for you in this pile. You know, when it feels difficult or challenging, you got to see it as it's the guardian of the threshold moment. So, you know, like in the hero's journey, it's that point of like, again, like what I channeled in the beginning about the computer game, the Mario Brothers, like making sure that you pick up all of those extra points, those extra gifts, those do the extra thing, which gives you brownie points essentially, which you can then use at another point in time in your life to give you huge acceleration. And I'm also hearing wherever there's a challenge or there's a difficulty in 2021, there's also a pot of gold there. And obviously a lot of the time I'm talking about this metaphorically, but for a few of you it will literally be a pot of gold. But yeah, just know that, because it's every challenging situation for you in 2021, I'm hearing is very much a guardian at the threshold moment. And it's really just asking you to step up and utilize the gifts, the understanding and the knowledge that you already have, and then also apply that in this collaborative type way with whoever is your mastermind group, whoever it is that you're going to or seeking for their expertise to help you with your situation, if that makes sense. I just really feel like that. Okay, I'm not even turned around the other card, but it's all just come out. Okay, collaboration again. I mean, this is everywhere, guys. So 3 of Stones is 3 of Pentacles. I don't know if you can see on this card here, the 3 different hands, all coming with, again, almost like a different specialization. They bring something different to the group. And that is, I mean, I just see that in this card, in this card, in this card. But then interestingly enough, with these 2 cards, I see this is about you shining your own light and your own expertise. So yeah, so it's really interesting. This pile, obviously the way the style is, the way this is in the center, everything about this feels incredibly inclusive. It feels like union, it feels like connection, it feels like collaboration, it feels like all of these things. But at the same time, I'm really aware, but you're also still supposed to be a bit of a leader within a collaborative space, or you're also really supposed to shine your own light in a collaborative space. So it's kind of like, it's not about taking a back seat in 2021 is what I'm hearing. It's definitely not about taking a back seat. It's definitely about bringing yourself more into the forefront and into, again, like with these 2 cards here, like the limelight. I can imagine that for some of you, situations will come up in 2021 that are going to be encouraging you to step into the limelight in whatever way that is for you. And I can honestly say your Akashic Records are definitely like, yeah, go for this. You're ready, you're prepared for it, you're prepared for this. This is all part of the process. Yeah, okay, let me just get a couple more cards now. I'm just going to get one more for each. Oh wow, spun out straight away. Okay, so we have, I'm hearing we don't read any reverse, so we won't. This is the 4 of Voices, so this is the 4 of Swords. Okay, actually they got this. I think, guys, your spread is turning to be one of the prettiest spreads. I'm just going to get them all out first. Again, I am just also hearing, like, again, I've had this with a few of the piles, not with all of them. I think so far, I think it's just been you and Cancer that have had this, but I do really feel like you guys are quite divinely protected this year. So, I don't know, it's like I can see Jupiter now. Jupiter can come in and can kind of, sometimes when Jupiter's strong in somebody's chart or in their energy field, it means that they have situations where, well, I guess like maybe where they're in a car crash, but actually they end up being completely okay, even though that's not That's sadly not always the case for everybody else involved in the car crash, and it doesn't actually make any sense that they were totally okay, but they were okay. It's kind of like when the worst case scenario almost happened, but then it just didn't for some reason. And it's kind of, I do kind of feel a bit of that energy also coming in for people in this pile. That's not to be reckless or take risks, not at all. It's just to say, just to trust yourself when in certain situations, I suppose. Trust yourself and trust life in certain situations in 2021. Okay, so then we have the Hierophant. Beautiful card. Then we have Three of Inspiration. I've not actually seen this card before, with the dominoes. Then we have Ten of Voices. And then last of all we have, oh wow, Page of Voices. Again, Page of Voices, that instantly makes me think about this thing, you know, that I said for you guys about the internet. I do think the internet is quite important in whatever way you're doing something. Whatever it is that you are wanting to achieve more in, I just get this feeling that the internet can really help and support you. And that also might be where some of this specialization is going to be coming from as well, you know, like what we talked about. Right, just give me a second just while I feel into all of this. Okay, so I really do want to say as well, with the Ten of Voices, which is Ten of Swords, being so close to the Sun card, and you know, it just reminds me about what I was saying about Jupiter. There is a lot of protective, supportive, divine guidance type of energy for you guys in 2021. And also just to really, this is just really confirmation that, I don't know, however hard things have been in the past, like I say, particularly the last couple of years, just know that that really is coming to its conclusion. It really is coming to its conclusion. And I'm also hearing that that's also why you're being given some divine protection, because essentially you have been put through a lot of different situations. It has been taxing, it has been hard, and now the universe actually is, I'm almost hearing like they're going to try and shelter you to some extent from things. Yeah, and I think that's just really coming through as quite a supportive message. There's something here about a soul contract, but I just can't work out. Let me just give me a moment just while I really feel into this. What is this about? So a soul contract. Okay, so I'm hearing that there really is something, this has got something to do with the energy of June, basically. But I feel like from May, June, July and August, I don't know, there's something that occurs for you, or there's something that did occur, depending on when you listen to this video, which is really significant to you being actually able to step more into the limelight, is what I'm hearing. I feel like potentially an opportunity comes, or an opportunity came, that might have seemed kind of like small fry, not really a big deal, but actually by the end of 2021, and by the time we go into 2022, it's actually starting to manifest into something much, much bigger than what you had imagined. But I'm also really getting that, so when did we say, May and June, July, so basically March and April, I'm hearing that, and this is coming in here as well, March and April, really kind of spend a bit of time sort of getting into more of have almost like a bit of a meditation practice, have some kind of routine that just allows your head to clear, is what I'm hearing. So like, it's, you know, it could be the gym, it could be yoga, but I feel like it's something different to what you would usually do. So if you usually go to the gym or usually go to yoga to clear your head, I do really think it's about doing something different. I'm even hearing it could even just be cooking, or I don't know, there's just something for you guys to do which is going to be almost meditative. So it almost allows you, I'm hearing, to zone out, because I'm hearing that you need these time periods of kind of like no focus on anything, to allow some integration to happen, and to allow some of the processing of what's occurring, what's about to occur, to almost be downloaded into your consciousness before you even get activated by the physical event. And also what I'm hearing by this as well is like, and I do know that this can often happen, you know, if you have dreams, and well, people that remember your dreams, and don't worry if you do or not, because it happens to all of us, quite a few of our dreams can also be dreams that help prepare us for things that are about to happen in physical reality. We might get these dreams months before or a day before. It can be anything, right? You might remember them, you might not remember them. It really doesn't matter. It's just the concept that, you know, like certain downtime, certain like sleeping, dreaming, daydreaming, or a meditative space when you're not really concentrating on anything, or a meditative space where you're wholly just concentrated on one thing. And let's say, like, I don't know, I guess playing an instrument is coming through, even though I've never done it. That sort of like concentration where you get lost in the moment becomes very meditative. And all of these like things that I've just described allow your consciousness to almost, some of that energy that you'd be using to consciously process and think about things actually can further go into the integration and the processing of much deeper dynamics of things which you're not yet conscious of. And I'm hearing that this is really, really important. I'm hearing that it's particularly important in April and May of 2021 because of this build up for whatever is occurring in the summer. But I'm also hearing that no matter when you listen to this reading, it's also just really important to apply this kind of thing that we've just talked about, because there's this need for like processing to go on a deeper unconscious level. So it's about making sure that you've actually creating some space for that. I'm just hearing it's really, really important. I'm also getting this, I don't know if this is true, but it's sort of coming through the Akashic Records, and I vaguely remember, I think I've heard something like this, which is like, so Winston Churchill, like one of the famous British prime ministers, I think he was known to sort of catnap in the middle of the day so that then he could work longer into the night. And this is what I mean, it's like a catnap. It's like some kind of downtime when you're honestly doing nothing to do with your goals, or I don't know, your job, or what you're trying to manifest, or what you're trying to work on or heal. You do nothing to do with it. You just completely, like, I don't know, almost detach and just go into a meditative type space, because this kind of processing downtime is really, really needed. And like I say, I'm pretty much sure, and I am hearing it from the Akashic Records, it did allow Winston Churchill to to just be able to go long into the night, because that downtime, that little bit of catnapping was so important. And you know, it even could be stuff like, because I'm getting the Winston Churchill thing again, even could be things like a smoking of a cigar every now and then, or I don't know, it could be anything that just really, really takes you out into meditative space. And I have to admit, my brother used to take me like to go and smoke cigars and stuff, and I have to admit, I really enjoyed it. I found it insanely friggin' meditative. I just don't know what it did. It just relaxed all of my being. And obviously it is quite an old Native American tradition as well, that you can use tobacco in such a way that it is almost like a meditative experience. And I suppose that's the kind of things and energy that I'm kind of talking about. So yeah, just see what comes out for you with that. But I can't tell you how important the downtime is. Because again, I'm hearing that the downtime really does just help you as well with, I do see this as soul contracts that are coming up in 2021. Old ones are closing, new ones are beginning, and it's almost like the changing of the guard. I'm hearing there's a bit of a changing of the guard that's happening for you guys in 2021, and therefore it's just kind of, what I say, I don't know, I'm just getting that you just need to make sure you've got some downtime, because it will also help with like the processing of the new contracts and the processing of the releasing of the old soul contracts and all of this kind of thing. Just really try and give yourself some downtime. It is really important. And if you can try and bring it into almost like your day-to-day routines. So I don't know if it might even be stuff like salt baths, or even having a shower. I don't know. Go intuitive. I'm also hearing that you don't necessarily need to have a strict routine with this, but just be open to the concept that at least almost every day you need to have a little bit of downtime. Even if, I mean, I think Winston Churchill only did stuff like 15-minute catnap, half an hour catnap. Nothing, you don't have to be long, but it's just something that can fully disengage you, so this other processing can happen on your energetic and sort of like your energy fields, as it were. actually, I'm also hearing this is something I used to do when I was going through lots of different experiences, but also things were really changing in my physical reality. I would sometimes just get so tired, and I've always known, cool, I'm just going to sleep right now because it's processing time. If I surrendered to this now, I can then be really productive after. So I'd always do it. But I would then do something like put on a guided meditation on YouTube to do with something, or I'd put on some meditative music, and then I would just have that while I was sleeping. And I used to wake up feeling really, really good. And that way as well, I still felt like I was doing something that was helping what needed to happen right now, which I knew was the processing of something. So I generally choose a YouTube meditation that I intuitively knew was to do with something that I was processing, just to kind of help on that kind of help that energy, as it were. So right, what else we get in here? Gosh, I feel like so much is just coming out so quick, and I do really feel like you guys are going to be able to express yourself so much more. But I also can feel like, and I did feel like this, I think in one of the other paths for Capricorn, that I do feel like a release of pressure. I definitely feel like a release of pressure. And you know, like it's that sighing energy. And I've always known when you sigh a lot, when you're having an energy session or you're giving an energy session or anything like that, it really is because like a layer of resistance is being released, and it's being released through the breath, through like the sigh. The sigh is the relief, and I'm really, really getting that with this pile. So again, I do just want to iterate to any of you guys here, this Ten of Voices, the Ten of Swords, this really, really is just about, I think it's just about the release points of things that have been challenging in the past. However, that's not to say that there won't be new challenges coming in 2021, because for sure there will, and your energy is so almost like intimately interwoven, I feel, with this Saturn square Uranus energy. But I feel like this is something that you're going to be able to work with, and it feels like it's something that will actually be, it will be really, really productive. So it won't have this same kind of draining feeling as when some things happen and they never really feel productive, if that kind of makes sense. It does. I do feel like it's really, really productive. I mean, this person here even looks like she's just on it, just totally on it and focused. And I do kind of get that kind of thing. But I'm also really hearing as well with this one that, again, you guys are going to have, if you're Capricorn rising, ascendant, you will have Pluto going through your first house. It will be going through your first house for ages. It's probably been going through your first house for a little while, depending on where your ascendant actually lies on the degrees. But there is going to be this thing as well about a deep, slow, real changing of how you see yourself in the world and how the world sees you. And this is sometimes going to cause little points of friction with your home life, with your family life, with your relationships life, with your career and your status life. But all of these are just really, I'm just hearing it again like I did with the astrology in the beginning. It's just slightly supposed to change your angle of focus. So you're in the correct direction, but it's just kind of slightly, I suppose now I'm seeing like a camera, and it's kind of like you are in focus, but it's just, if you tilt the lens, or if you turn the lens just slightly more, you'll be like crystal clear in focus. And I think it's just about slight little adjustments for this crystal clear focus, both for how you see yourself, how you see the world, and how other people see you, and how the world sees you. It's like a very, very tiny adjustment, even though sometimes in this reality it probably won't feel like a tiny adjustment, but I'm really hearing that it is. Ultimately, deep down, it is just a small adjustment, but just to be mindful that there is that kind of like background tone of energy that's going off for you guys, and that will be going on for a long time, because wherever Pluto is, it's kind of like a slow transformation process, but it's very, very, very deep. So again, because it's near this card as well, just be kind to yourself, the compassion card. Because you know, rats, they have this amazing thing. I love pet rats. I used to have loads. I totally love them. They are so loving. They are so loving. It is absolutely insane. And I always remember watching a TED talk where basically they said that of all like animals or whatever, rats have one of the biggest parts of their brain designated to compassion. That is how important compassion is to rats. I just think that is so beautiful. I love it. And I would just say, definitely be compassionate to yourself, and please don't think the worst case scenario about yourself or situations in 2021, no matter what happens, because it's not like the past. Any difficulties you've had in the past, that really is over in that kind of way. And there is this kind of sun energy, this kind of really positive, good omen energy coming in. But just bearing in mind as well that 2021 is a really big shift point for all of humanity, and it's going to take some time to fully integrate into this new energy. So whenever new energy comes, again, it's like that changing of the guard thing. It will always be a bit disruptive and chaotic while you change from, let's say, one form of leadership to another form of leadership. And essentially, collectively as souls, we're going from the changing of the guard of leadership through like the earthly, material, earth signs, to now going into leadership with like the airy, kind of cosmic, kind of innovative, communicative energy of the air signs. So there is like this changing, but also because ultimately this is a massive cycle, like a 200-year cycle, you know, it's not going to be like it just changes in the first year. Do you know what I mean? It's going to take some time. So that's just something I think you just need to be mindful of and aware, even within you and your own self-growth. Because I'm also hearing the kinder you are to yourself and the more compassionate you are to yourself, the more opportunities that life can somehow bring to you. And it's something, because it's like your energy field becomes bigger and it becomes softer, so it becomes easier for the universe to get things to you. So I suppose what I'm trying to say is just try and work with that softness, soften yourself. That's what I'm hearing. And again, like with this Leo energy that we're hearing about, and I do really see, I mean, this strength card has just totally come out to me as Leo in the zodiac. So you also might find, for some of you might find that Akashic record also useful. Just go intuitively with what you feel. But yeah, I don't know, there's something about you really sort of love it. It sounds so, I don't want to sound like, I don't know, 101 spirituality or something, but there really is something about you really, I think you're really going to acknowledge yourself in a new way. And I don't want to say like self-love, because it feels way more than self-love. It feels like, I don't know, it feels like so many things, like self-love, self-appreciation, self-respect, self-acknowledgement. It feels like all of these type of energies are going to be really starting to fully integrate within you, and that's going to ultimately make you this really, like almost like the highest potential of the Leo archetype is what I'm hearing. So again, I have another YouTube channel, See It Like a Psychic, and I've got one on there for the highest potential of the Leo archetype. You might find that really useful, because that is exactly the sort of energy that I'm talking about with this energy here. So go to that if that resonates. And then I'll go with this one. I think it's really interesting. Right at the bottom we have 2 threes, 3 of Pentacles, and also the 3 of Inspiration. I do really feel like this year is going to be dynamic for you. Dynamic means that it will be changeable. Dynamic means you will need to be flexible for sure. And I do think at some points, I'm going to be real with you, I do think that will in itself be a bit of a challenge. But again, I feel like this challenge to be more flexible it's just going to be like the guardian at the threshold moment, like we talked about before. It's just like, look, if you're able to be flexible in this situation and adapt, here are, I don't know, 10,000 new Mario Brother points, which then you can use when you level up again. So, you know, like that game thing that we had the analogy of, that's kind of like what I'm hearing. What I'm also hearing as well is I think some of you will feel like, oh no, wait a minute, but I do think I am really flexible. I do think I'm really open-minded. I do think I am very dynamic. And what I'm hearing is, yes, you are. But you know what? Again, it's like that nodule, that dial, it's going to be turned up times 3. Like you have the potential to be even more flexible, even more open-minded, even more adaptable times 3, basically. So again, it's just wherever you're at, there's this whole other level that you can get to, and that's a place that the universe is going to be encouraging you to get to. And I'm also hearing that there's different areas where some of you will be really flexible in certain areas of your life and with certain people, and then some of you as well will be inflexible with certain areas of your life and inflexible with certain people in your life, because obviously it's just, we're all human, and it's about bringing that flexibility into those unflexible areas. and that there's so much growth to be had, and that again, this is something to do with compassion with yourself, with others. This is something as well to do with expertise from other people, getting more of their expertise into you, and you getting more of your expertise into them, and this really kind of really collaborative energy. I can't tell you how many collaborative energy cards I see here. So obviously this one, and this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. There's a huge thing about collaboration. And again, it does feel it's collaboration in sometimes some unique ways, which I think will be unconventional to you. So once again, no matter where you sit on that scale of being unconventional, I don't know, it's going to be unconventional for you to be collaborating with that person. For example, you could be, just as a metaphor, so for example, I can see like a hippie collaborating with a politician. You know, two people that to each other would seem very unconventional, because they're really out of their own form of convention. I suppose that's what I'm trying to say. It's like you stepping outside of your own form of convention. That's going to be the definition of you being unconventional. It's not about whether society would say you're unconventional or not. It's about where is your comfort zone? Where do you conform? Now, where is it a place of a bit more discomfort or a bit more of the unknown that actually is unconventional for you? That's a place to kind of be expanding into. And I do really feel like this is going to come in as well through kind of collaborations with people or scenarios or situations that you wouldn't usually go in that kind of way. And I can just feel like it's going to be really powerful. Just give me 1 second, I'm just getting a message. Okay, so my guides are saying this is not instantly what you think it is, because I was like, oh yeah, this is just about their sleep routine, and my guides are like, no, it's not, but we'll go into it in the extended. So then I just get this, when day turns to night, kiss your pillow. And obviously we'll go into that in the extended. I'll pull out lots of different cards as well so we can explore that. Like I say, my guides are like, it's not sleep, so I don't think it is. But anyway, we'll explore that in a bit. Now, let's get some oracle cards. I just so love how your spread looks. It's so pretty. Which also actually makes me think as well, I wonder if a lot of you are going to really start to appreciate your physical appearance way more. Actually, here, I'll put this on here. Cool. Also, you know, you chose the jade green. That's always a good look as well. So, I think there's a lot. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot that you're going to get out of 2021. Sorry, I just want 2 more cards. Hope you can see them all. I just feel like your cards should kind of fan out some way. Okay, again, I'm hearing that we read all of these upright, so that's cool. Just let me make more space for all of this. Okay, cool. Okay, so let's have a look, see what we've got. So first of all, we have Pig Spirit, use your mind wisely. Okay. Then we have Tribal Spirit Dancer. And then we have Rock, Endurance. And then we have I Am Peaceful. That's interesting with like an ego, not an ego, sorry, an eagle, and I like that. Okay. Sorry about this, just need to be like this. Then we have pulsar, comfort, stability, regularity. And then we have, oh wow, assistance. This reminds me of divine protection, but I think you've got more than that. I'll go into it, obviously, I'll go into that in the extended. So what we'll do is we'll take this into the extended. We'll go into all of these oracle cards, bring it together, because I can already see there's some additional insights and things that the Akashic Records want you to know. We'll also go into this message, when day turns to night, kiss the pillow. We'll also go and channel your crystal to see what else this crystal wants to tell you. And then last of all, what we'll do is I will pull a message from the I Ching, and I'm just going to read the message out of the book, so you get that personalised message just for you. And these I Ching cards are amazing, and I love how they're written. It's really cool. So I hope you found that useful. If you'd like the extended reading, you just need to go over to my website on abigailgracepsychic.com so you can buy it there. To be honest, they're anything from like 30 minutes to 50 minutes. Some of these extended readings are pretty long, so they go into quite a lot of detail, so that's just to give you an idea. Also, you can find me on Instagram and Facebook on Abigail Grace Psychic. I just post lots of different psychic things there, and also my YouTube channel, the other one, See It Like a Psychic, where I do think you might like the highest potential of the Leo archetype that could be useful. You can check that out as well. But other than that, thank you for letting me read for you. It was awesome, and hopefully I'll see you on the extended. And also remember, check out your sun, moon or rising sign in any of the other Akashic Records. And also remember, you can use these Akashic Records like a wild card. Just come with where you're at and just let your intuition guide you as to which zodiac sign holds the answer for you, regardless of your astrology. That's how these are all meant to be. But other than that, I look forward to speaking to you soon. Bye. So thank you for letting me read for you. That was totally my pleasure. If you'd like the extended reading, you just need to go over to my website on abigailgracepsychic.com. I'll leave all the links below. There's the choice for you to buy one reading, one extended reading, or multiple extended readings, and there's different packages that you can go for so that you can get the most out of it. Just bearing in mind that 2020 was crazy and 2021 is still very much a huge tipping point, and so much new energy is coming in. But when anything begins, there are always unpredictable moments. There's different things that kind of go off. So hopefully these readings, particularly if you use them in whatever way your intuition tells you to, you'll be able to get the most out of how you can leverage whatever situation you find yourself in 2021. Also, just bearing in mind that these readings are relevant anytime in 2021, and you can come back to these readings and you might find different numbers become relevant to you. So just be as creative and intelligent as possible with all of these readings so you can leverage any situation and you can do awesome, because I do believe we all can. Speak to you soon.